What's going on? Happy Friday. Good morning. 6 o'clock from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. The San Francisco 49ers made their third trip to Lumen Field in as many seasons for a Thursday night football showdown against the Seattle Seahawks. With their 36-24 victory over the divisional rivals to the north, San Francisco has gone from number 3 in the NFC West standings to sharing part of the crown with Seattle, and the team extends their win streak over the Seahawks to 6 straight games. Titans' updated injury report yesterday saw Treylon Burks returning to practice after being absent for the birth of his child. Keandre Coburn and Jamal Adams remaining out, but Jeffrey Simmons becoming a full participant after being limited earlier in the week. Colts getting a couple players back at practice. Offensive lineman Braden Smith, running back Trey Sermon, and Anthony Richardson all practicing in full. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Friday morning starting right now on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon, Kayla, and Will is live in studio. 615-737-1045. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. A rivalry weekend at both the college and professional levels in Nashville, Tennessee. Titans and Colts, Vols and Gators. Your phone calls throughout the morning at 615-737-1045. Brent Hubs at 720. Mike Keith in hour 3. And CBS's Aditi King Kabala in hour number 4. There is lots of football to discuss. Good morning, everyone. How are we?
Good morning. I'm going to have to practice Aditi's name every time she comes on. I think I know how to say it, and then I have to really practice before leading up to that. So hopefully I get it right this time.
Aditi, man,
she's awesome.
Kinkhabwala. Yeah, she is. She got the game this weekend. Be interesting to see what she has. As far as the Colts optimism, I think 3HL had somebody on yesterday said this is a get right week for their quarterback, or vice versa. I missed it. All I heard was get right week, and I heard quarterback, and I was like, whoa! I hope it's not the Colts just saying this is a get right week for them.
Hope it's for the Titans, meaning that, because both of them are in similar situations.
Yeah, it is. But the big weekend got. Rivalry weekend this weekend, and on top of Colts and Titans. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
It feels a little odd to be playing Florida in a weekend where you need a hoodie to start your morning or a light jacket. Typically, this game is one of the hottest of the year. Typically, as a student, you would just expect to sweat through all of your clothes for this game every single year.
Yeah.
You'd have to bring a different pair of clothes there, change into.
It's usually the third game, if I'm not mistaken.
Third Saturday in September.
September is usually when it is. September was hot as hell. You're right, Will.
Oh, yeah.
Goodness.
Yeah.
There is not a month, though, that is prettier than Knoxville in October. I had a teammate from Detroit who was on the cross-country team with me say that. He's like, man, this is like the best month ever to live in a state because all of the trees are like orange and the weather is nice. Like October is the best month of the year, and I will fight anyone who disagrees with me.
It is here for sure. It's the perfect type of way. It was still hot last night. Yesterday at practice.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like you couldn't stand being out there, right?
No, it's a whole lot better than what we dealt with in September. Yeah,
exactly.
It's a whole lot better than what we dealt with in September. But it is. I love it when it's this time, too. It's. I mean, you ain't got to worry about, like I got on a light long sleeve right now. So, but the evenings so far have been somewhat warm.
Yeah.
Sunday, the only freaking day of the week that I'm really outside, it's the hottest day. Like, God dang it.
Isn't it like 88 on Sunday or something?
All I know is good things usually happen when Tennessee doesn't play Florida in September, so we're going to roll with that.
There we go.
Well, we'll see.
2001 was that way, 34-32, a famous Tennessee win in Gainesville. It did not really go that way in the COVID year, but we're not going to speak about that.
We're not going to speak about that.
It goes better for Tennessee when the game's not played in September, so
Yeah.
See if that's the case tomorrow.
That COVID year, we had a dude with a mushroom head. So with a
mushroom head.
Yeah, that's what it was when he had the little wrap around his head, like it was like a
I
mushroom.
knew what you were
coming from-
talking about. I just mushroom.
Yeah, it's the
Jeremy
first thing that
Pruitt.
popped to mind
Okay.
this morning,
All
man.
right.
Yeah.
I'm here for this type of slander.
Snap and clear.
See you with a cap on this morning, a flat bill too.
So, Bad Day Hat Co. has hooked me up with a couple hats to wear
Man.
the day before Tennessee, Florida, and Tennessee, Alabama. These things are sweet. I got 3 of
That's
these.
cool.
One of them has got a Vols cursive. That's an orange
Yeah.
corduroy hat. The
Yeah.
other one has flames on it.
Yeah.
With Vols cursive on the front.
I
So.
almost
with this
took the other one from you.
Did you?
Yeah, that's you
news to
showing
me.
it off. I
Stole
thought you
it?
had 3. I was like, okay, well,
Man, I can see it.
Larry
Right.
Hurley
If you
Mo.
want me to.
I know the link. I got a couple. Savage also got one for me the other day too. The one I told you, the upside down hat.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, Bad Day Hat Co. is a local company based out of Chattanooga. This guy is awesome and really, really cool stuff. They've got a ton of options. There's one that just says "I hate Alabama."
Yes.
Just dropped again this week, which I think a lot of people can get behind as
Yeah.
well. Even though this one's in Tennessee orange, so great hats, super comfortable. I like it's important this time of year when it's so hot still to have a very comfortable hat that can breathe, not make you totally miserable. These
Yeah, 'cause
hats are
it's got a
very,
little air.
very, very, very comfortable.
Air
Yes.
to it.
Speaking of very comfortable, last night I was made uncomfortable, man, inside of my home. Okay.
Where are you?
By
yes,
Zeus, your
I
dog?
was. No, not him.
Okay.
Zeus he ran away and came back again. All he's doing is going up to the neighbor's house. I'm just like, dog, get it together. I noticed your little friend up
Dogs
there.
being dogs.
But let us know when
Yeah.
you're going up there.
Vibing.
Just being a dog
Man
is
of the
all
house,
he's doing.
man, yeah.
I
Dog
mean, that's
life.
what he's doing. But I'm sitting downstairs watching the Thursday night game. It was a good game, right? And I hear someone, yes, no,
Uh-oh.
yes. Well, my wife is downstairs watching the WNBA finals and going the hell off. And clearly it was a reason they went into overtime last night.
yeah.
The Lynx ended up beating the Liberty 95-93. Apparently it was a game.
Yeah.
And I saw others on social media speaking about it. So they clearly put on a good product last night. I mean, over 90 points to both teams. I just had to it going off
She was
last
into
night.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel
Insane.
like she is definitely like a proponent of the WNBA,
Oh, she is.
which everybody, I
Yeah.
mean, if they really watch the product, it's gotten better and better.
Yeah, we got
So-
hoodies and everything now.
Yeah.
we invested.
When you
in
said the
it.
game last night, that's not what I was expecting.
I know. I actually thought you were saying the
Football.
NFL game,
No,
right?
She could care less about the football game right now, man. She's all in. And
That's cool.
Aces got knocked out. If y'all did not know, they're
Yep.
the favorite to win. And what was it? Asia won MVP, and they are out of it now. So good game last night, though. Game 1.
Big night for Bert last night in Bridgestone Arena. Preds taking an L on game number 1 of the season with Scott Wedgwood in goal instead of the banged up UC Saros. Bert, how was it? That's not your first Preds game, is it?
No, that's my 4th or 5th one.
Okay.
I still haven't
You
seen a win
flex.
yet.
We did the
Uh-oh.
balcony thing when you had the turkey legs.
Oh, the turkey legs. Don't and see, that's part of the problem. Cheyenne's expectations. See, I'm just a regular dude at home until I get some free tickets to go to a game, and then we're on the way there. Is this VIP? No. These are just seats. You just get to sit down.
This is VIP,
Mostly,
I
you
love
just
it.
get to sit down.
That's why you hit her back with,
I
"You're
love
my
it.
VIP."
Right?
I don't want to give her that much credit. It was a fun game, though. It was a fun game. The 2 quick goals coming out of the first intermission. We went up there, took a quick pee, got a nice drink, came before we could even get back to our seats. I'm like, how the hell did they score 2 before we could even get back to our seats? But it was a lot of fun. Despite the loss, they scored 1 late to bring it within 1, but it was not enough. Still a fun game. I was very jealous of the Zamboni driver. I got to watch him every time I go. I have to watch him. And see, I don't even have to drive it. I saw they had like a kid riding with
Yeah,
him.
you can ride on it.
I want to be the rider. Let me be in the sidecar of the Boney.
Let's get this hooked
the
up.
Boney. He's shortening
mean-
the name
Bert's Boney.
already.
Ramon Foster is got Sean
he couldn't
Henry's
fit on
number
there.
now.
Oh,
Sean,
okay,
did you
sorry.
see him last night?
I did see him. He was going to get me some Lexus Lounge spots, and they might have had your name on them, but I used them.
Okay. All right. Well,
Ooh,
that's all right.
wait, really?
Okay, cool.
That's all right.
Look at that.
Hey, everybody eats B.
There we go.
Okay.
He gave me a little card. It's metal, so I could go there whenever I wanted to, but
Oh,
it's
wow.
got your name on it.
Hold up. Is that my card?
No.
Oh.
I
Did you
Anyway,
pickpocket him?
great show today. We got a lot of people coming up. Brent Hubs, Mike Keith, Aditi King Kabala. We got so much stuff to talk about
You
today.
needed a rehearsal on that too, didn't you?
Goodness.
Just worried Ramon's going to strangle me.
No, I'm not, man. Where's the metal card?
The
at?
Lexus
Where's my
Lounge
metal card?
No, I'm not even on that today. This a humble Friday, and we're going to buy.
Humble Friday.
I mean, Big Glow.
Humble
I
Friday.
got to see if Hubs checked out Big Glow album already
That's right.
this morning.
See
Yeah,
if he rated
Glorilla
it.
released this morning,
How many
and I
stars
wonder
she
if
got?
he's actually on Big X too. He dropped this morning too, so Hubs got a busy day.
I'm from Texas.
Oh.
That's all I got.
That sounds like Hank Hill. I sell propane.
That's kind of what Big X sound like. If Hank Hill was from a different upbringing and was, I'm not going to go any further with this because this could take a really bad turn really
Yes,
quickly.
it could.
But I feel like Hank Hill and Big X have some similar,
If Hank
similar vocal varieties.
Yeah, I get what you're saying on that.
Hubs got a busy morning, man. I know he had, of course, War Room last night, and I'm sure he had to preview Big Glow and Big X the plug. So I got to ask him about those.
It was
things.
funny, even last night on Rivalry Thursday, watching the high school game of the week in Knoxville, because Brentwood Academy was playing Knoxville Catholic. Watching George McIntyre and our good friends Eric Kane and Austin Price, who joined Mark Packer on the call for that. Mark, who I've known since I was in second grade, and we went to church together when I lived in Knoxville. But even on those broadcasts, somebody mentioned something from the Andy Griffith Show, and Brent Hubs immediately got a mention.
I think that's so great.
Every single time.
That's our guy, man.
Yeah.
He brings it every single time. A Thursday night game, though. I'm still getting used to this.
That's their TV game of the week in Knoxville is on Thursdays.
Football every day of the week, high school, college, pro. All over the place.
All over the place. That's every day this week now through Thanksgiving.
Yeah, because the
Every
Mac's
day,
back on Tuesday.
every day until Thanksgiving.
Yeah, buddy. Let's roll,
Tuesdays
man.
and Wednesdays.
Where's your BVS this morning, good folks?
Yeah, where are you guys?
What was
where you
your
got-
W?
Mine is a lot lower than it was last week.
WSU.
WSU?
What?
V?
We call that just simply cooging it.
Just
that
cooging
is
it?
what we call cooging
How are
it.
y'all? How are y'all doing so far?
Well, we lost to Boise State. We had a
Boise.
bye week, but Boise
Did
State.
Jonte
y'all,
run all over y'all?
That guy is so for real. I've said this before
Yeah.
after we played him. I wasn't fully convinced. Then I watched and I'm like, no, I'm fully convinced. Give that guy the Heisman.
Yeah, my
He is
youngest brought
legit.
that up. He was like, they said a guy from Boise State is a Heisman favorite. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he is. He's been running all over folks. So,
Yeah.
Jonte, I forget his last name. But either way,
Ashton
he's
Genty.
Ashton Genty.
So you did
It is-
not. You did forget his last name.
It is an
Jonte
interesting.
Porter is what I was
And his
spelling.
robbing himself out here.
Have you guys seen the edits of his highlights where he stands straight up
Yeah,
in
he
the
stands straight
backfield?
up. Yeah.
So people are saying that he runs like Michael Myers, and
Oh my
they'll have
God.
like clips of Michael Myers before he takes the snap.
Oh no.
You're going to have to send me that
I
one. I
gotta
haven't
see
seen that
this.
one. Yeah, either that or the
That's
dude
all
from
over
Get
Twitter,
Out.
yeah.
Okay, I got yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, how are you guys feeling? Are you guys feeling good?
better than last week.
Yeah.
We back up. We back,
Back
up.
up.
Yeah, we all the way back up.
Your BVS is back
no,
up, or you're
no,
just
it's not.
or just hey, I want
You're
you to put
back
the
up.
word out there
Nah.
that we back up.
Yeah, that's what
That
I'm
one.
string a bell.
Okay.
Yeah,
Exactly.
String a bell on that one.
I'll tell you something that makes you really happy though, or not happy that this was, the case, but it does make you smile. JC Latham, not too happy about that Alabama in the locker room
believe it.
yesterday.
He was in his feels about that.
Yeah, I mean, he's fresh out of it. It's different when you're
It
kind of
hits.
fresh out,
Hits a
right?
little harder when
Compared
you're
to if
fresh
you're a
out of
few years
college.
out. So
Yeah.
it's always fun because some of those guys obviously very loyal to their colleges. So
I
Some
hope
more
all
than
of
o-
them
some
are
more
at
than
this
others,
point.
I will
yeah. Well, he lives there now, and team had to take a bad one.
right.
615-737-1045 is our number. We'll get the headlines from the Titans practice field coming up next. And ask the question, could a win over Indy spark the Titans to compete in the AFC playoff picture? Not that far-fetched. We'll look at the numbers next.
It's Ramon Foster for United Structural Systems, letting you know they are a foundation repair and waterproofing company that served Middle Tennessee since 1994. They have more than 25,000 satisfied residential customers, man. If you notice soil cracking or pulling away from your homes, well, leaving holes or gaps next to the foundation. Your bricks may be cracking, the walls bowing, doors or windows sticking. These are all signs of possible foundation issues. Your house, it may be trying to tell you something, all right? And on the waterproofing side of things, it can include the drainage around your house or sealers. Oftentimes both. Up to 50% of the air you breathe on the first floor of your home is also the air that came from your crawl space. So control that moisture and create a healthier home for your family by encapsulating the crawl space. Is one of the most clutch things you can do. Plus, I'll be honest with you, just adds extra storage underneath your house because it's clean and you can navigate underneath it. And let's just say I put like a grill underneath it, okay? But either way, many repairs that you'll have are guaranteed for the lifetime of your home. USS, they aren't going anywhere. When you work with a new guy in town, you have no guarantee they will be around to use that warranty. So we guarantee our best. Call USS. You know the slogan is 615-488-7855 or online at USSTN.com.
Friday morning getting started on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. 615-737-1045 is the number. We asked this question on the title of our stream this morning saying, can the Titans get back in the AFC playoff picture with a win over the Colts? We had a comment on Facebook Live asking us before we even said a word this morning if we were high.
Oh, wow.
So positivity and the sun just rising. Things are feeling great this morning.
Wow. And even if we were, what are you going to do? Narc on us?
Exactly. Snitch? What are we talking about
Pat
here?
on Facebook says, are you all high? This team has no chance of making the playoffs. Well, guys, when I look around the AFC, I see a lot of teams with a lot of question marks. So I'll ask the question point blank to lead us off here this morning. If the Titans win Sunday against the Colts, can this be a spark to maybe put them in the playoff picture?
I want to be high first and say yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Here, I'll pass it over.
Thank you. Will, it's 2 out of 3 out of 4.
I think we may have found the line. Please just talk about football.
It's for Pat. This one for you, Pat. Smoking on that Pat pack this morning, okay? Here we go then. Yes, we are on that Pat pack this morning. Yes, I do. Here's the reason why. If you look at game, man, so far, and you're asking me so far, right? And the answer is yes for this reason. You got 2 NFC losses, right? Chicago and Green Bay, and the margin of loss for one. I mean, it was them one score. Those are the issues that we're dealing with as far as the Green Bay loss and also the Jets loss. You end up winning this one. You're 1-1 in the AFC South. I mean, the AFC. And also 1-0 in the AFC South. There's an opportunity for this team here to catch its stride, man. You asking me right now, the answer is yes. Again, I don't know what Buffalo holds. I don't know what Detroit holds. Detroit can be another loss that may end up being a quality of wins and losses at the end of the season. My focus now is watching what these AFC wins and losses look like for the Titans, which they've only had 2 games, and they're 1-1 in it so far. So I'll take that. Yes, the answer is short and yes.
It would be hard to just simply say no because you always have a chance, and especially this early on, with this being the 5th game, but their first divisional game. I think when you play a team like this in terms of a rival in a way, it always is a little bit different, especially the first of the season in the AFC South. So if you can win this game and get some momentum, well, then you've got an opportunity to kind of get some confidence building in this team. You've got the Bills coming up, which I know may be looking like a long shot because it is at Buffalo. However, there have been times in the past where this Titans team has surprised people. It is a different personnel, right? It is different in terms of coaching. But when you get confidence going in a team, I feel like you can get on a little bit of a run. And because they played the Bills, they've got the Pats, that could be something they could start to run with.
I feel better about being 2-1 in the AFC than if they don't. And where the Colts are this weekend as far as the injuries they have, and if Anthony Richardson is going to be playing quarterback, yeah, I live that life and saying this team can restart its season especially with this dub coming out of the bye. It just makes sense to me.
I think it all depends on your quarterback. Because clearly you've got a good enough defense to make a run and be frisky. With a win this weekend, NFL.com gives the Titans a 25% chance to make the playoffs. If they lose, 16%. Colts are in a similar situation. With a win, there's an even bigger margin for Indy. 34% chance to make the playoffs if the Colts win, 16% with a loss.
Yeah, I just feel like they're mirroring each other in terms of the situations this year. Besides the injuries, Titans don't have that stack of injuries, but dealing with the quarterback situations and trying to figure out who their quarterbacks are and how that can really transform the rest of the season. I think the Titans have a little bit of the upper hand right now, not because they know exactly who the quarterback is, but they aren't dealing with the pile of injuries Indy is. And, this is the game that could maybe teeter each season in a different direction, and the Titans are at home.
So the way I view this, you mentioned the quarterback being a reason why this team does or does not make the playoffs or, turn their season around. I'll even also throw in a little bit of play calling at this point too. Like if you know you have deficiencies with your guy, there's also, a component of your job that you're supposed to be able to protect them too.
And I think there's something to that because I think this bye week comes at a time where now you more intimately are familiar with Will Levis's deficiencies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you are. And sometimes you're supposed to hide them or help him hide those things too. And if he chooses to go off the play call sheet or go do his own thing in improv, that's on him. You get more answers about your guy. But if you have a method in which you can help this team win through your quarterback, through the play calling, I'll trust that. I know we've been talking about what this team did in Miami with the run game. Well, they really had no option then, right?
Yeah, that was kind of the plan they had to go
Miami was giving it up more than he possibly had at the time, and you took advantage of him, right? But I look at this and say at some point, especially if Anthony Richardson throws a deep ball, like you got to facilitate it to where Levis can at least take chunks out of this thing instead of having to fight deep balls with deep balls, right?
And I think that's the big reason why everybody wants to see probably Anthony Richardson above Joe Flacco, for the sheer fact that maybe that gives you a little more leeway on the side of Will Levis being able to maybe make a mistake or two, because on the other side, Anthony Richardson is just as prone. Now, I'm not saying I want to see that happen. I want to see Will fix those mistakes. Yeah. I'm just saying the reality of the situation is it probably bodes better for the Titans in that situation, having Anthony out there knowing he's going to make mistakes too because he's young.
I play a team when they're down. I don't care. It's all about winning in this league.
I know. You just got to stack the wins.
And I like the idea of, playing good on good, right? But where this team is right now, I'm trying to figure out with a new head coach. If the opposing team got 18 injuries, okay, I'm here for that. Sign and y'all figure it out. People either glad you got your problems in the NFL or don't want to hear about them. The Colts situation this weekend, you don't want to hear about them. Go get a dub, and I don't care who's at quarterback or who's at running back for them.
That is the question we ask you. Can the Titans get back in the AFC playoff picture with a win on Sunday? 615-737-1045. Eric is in Nashville first up. What's up, Eric?
Hey, guys. Good morning.
Morning.
I would love to say yes, but the problem is, guys, when you have teams that either you're just barely better than that or teams that are better than you, you got to take advantage of those wins. And the fact that we blew the game against the Bears, we blew the game against the Jets, that kind of frustrates me because, in my opinion, guys, we should be 3-1, or at the worst, we should be 2-2 because everybody was saying about the Bears, and the Bears are starting to get better. And people were slurping on the Jets, saying, "Oh, this Jets team is a Super Bowl team," which I never really bought into, guys. But when you have those type of teams and you have a chance to beat them, you got to knock them off, whether it's Will Levis or the special teams or penalties that have kind of killed us. And one of the things I hate now is that really doesn't make me feel good is when the national media makes jokes about your quarterback all the time, like especially that Green Bay Rams game when Jordan Love threw that ball. Everybody was saying, "Oh, he Will Levis did." And now that's become a phrase around the narrative around the National Football League. And until he breaks that narrative, that's unfortunately still going to be the case. And even if we beat the Colts, guys, we're now 2-3, but we play at Buffalo and Detroit. And also it's dependent, too, what happens in the Buffalo Jets game. Because whoever loses that game, you realize we'll have lost 3 in a row. If it's Buffalo, they're going to be mad. And my point is, I want to be optimistic, but I got a feeling in both those games at Buffalo and Detroit, we're going to get smoked, which means there's a strong possibility after that Detroit game, we're either going to be 2-5 or 1-6, because we're going to have a shot at the playoffs, guy. Not only do we have to win this game, we're going to have to split one of those 2 road games. And does anybody realistically think, with the way this team is playing, we're going to split at either Buffalo and Detroit? I want to say yes, but obviously, right now with this team, I can't say that. Guys, I'll get off. Y'all take care. Have a great weekend, and we'll talk again.
You too,
Thank you.
Yeah, and I get what Eric's saying, right? I mean, that's at this point, when you've only seen one win, even though you've been in other games, and your quarterback still is a question mark, it is hard to see a lot of optimism in the schedule that you're looking at in the next 4 games, because he did just list 2 really good squads. And yeah, Buffalo has had some issues as of late, but Detroit is really solid. That's why they always say, though, we focus on the game that's in front of us. And I know that sounds cliche, but that's all they can do, because how else are you going to try to even build anything off of that? So that's why this game is so huge on Sunday, because if they don't win that, then that really puts you in a hole to try to go and, be the giant that takes, or be the giant that takes down, or I don't even know what I'm saying.
Take down Goliath.
Thank you. Yes, that. in terms of Buffalo and Detroit.
Yeah.
So it kind of puts you behind the 8 ball.
Well, the only reason you would need to really, I guess, have to split the 2 road games is if you lose this Sunday.
Yeah.
You got to be 2-2 before the trade deadline.
I need that team to be Buffalo if they're going to split any road game, though.
I expected more. I expected more positivity from Eric. I'm a little disappointed.
Eric, like, he's painting a picture
That was a
already.
little too negative for me for a Friday. That's not Friday and acting like it.
I respect where he's coming from, but
he's talking about NFC losses.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, 2 of those losses that he mentioned are NFC losses against the Packers and against the Bears. I mean, look around at the AFC right now and tell me there aren't most of the other teams having the exact same conversation.
They are.
Right? I mean, you look at the Bills, Jets, and Dolphins, 3-2 and 2-3 respectively. The Pats are 1-4. In the AFC North, Ravens and Steelers have question marks. Ravens less so than Pittsburgh at this point, but then you got Browns and Bengals are both 1-4. In the AFC South, Colts are 2-3, Jags are 1-4. And in the West, the Broncos are 3-2, but how much do we really believe in Denver? Chargers are 2-2, and the Raiders are 2-3. Like, so yeah, you've got issues, you've got question marks, you've got difficult games coming up, but like, welcome to the NFL. I don't know what, like it. I don't know. I just feel like it's way too early to have that mentality.
It is. And here's the thing about it. One of the Colts wins is against the Bears also. And they got one over the Steelers also. So here's the thing that you have to do as far as beating them in the tiebreaker is you have to beat them because they got the Bears over you. Like there's an opportunity for this team to stay in the mix as far as the playoffs is concerned simply based off of AFC wins or losses. That's where I'm at with it because, again, you mentioned going to Detroit or having a Green Bay game and got to play Minnesota. That's fine. There's also 2 sides of the playoffs. It's AFC side and it's NFC side. That's what my concern is. It's a matter of, at some point, getting Detroit if you can, or seeing if you can get Minnesota lacking here at home, because that one of those wins will have to count and will matter as far as the AFC is concerned. Pittsburgh has issues at quarterback moving forward. Cincy and Cleveland are in the same conversation with some of the worst teams in the league, like New England. This is where you're at as a division. I almost feel like a team with under 500, 8 and 9 can make it to the playoffs before what happens in the AFC North at this point, or the AFC East.
And you at least have an identity on defense. Like, you know what this team does well. I have no clue what the Colts do well. I have no clue
stinks.
what the Chargers and Raiders and Broncos and Jags at this point. I mean, I know what the Steelers and Ravens do well, but outside of that, like, most of these 2 and 3 loss teams are just kind of middling around. Like, there's nothing really to inspire me that anyone's just going to take control over one of those last 2 playoff spots.
And that's because a lot of these teams, too, have just been underwhelming. Like, you talk about the AFC North and you speak of the Bengals and Browns, and I know the Browns, you kind of teeter out in the end, but they have a roster to be competitive, and they're not. They're 1-4 with the Bengals, and then you look at the AFC East, the Bills started off hot, but they've kind of had some issues, like I said, as of late. And the Jets, like, do you get a little interim head coaching bump? I don't know. They're hoping for that. I think that's the only reason why they fired Robert Saleh at this point.
I think that's honestly the reason we're having this conversation is because of what the Jets is. The Jets have been so underwhelming in their approach to this season. Like, the Jets' wins are the Tennessee Titans, who trying to fight out of themselves, and New England. Like, those are the issues that you have right now, which would give me optimism about making a run in the AFC because of them. Like, right now, they're supposed to be the cream of the crop as far as the AFC is concerned, and they're just simply not. And for those reasons, you got to believe that you have an opportunity to fight up out of this. Will mentioned it earlier. I hate that it has to come back to this conversation, but the reason you can somewhat bring it up is if you do get a better reset, rewiring out of Will Levis, you got a real opportunity to start fighting in the AFC. That, to me, is where I think the biggest hay is to be made because I don't see the Jets getting it together. They've had zero quality of wins either.
Well, but we could make the same argument about all of these teams. Like a quarterback getting hot for Cincinnati is enough for that team to be in the conversation. Joe Burrow and that defense working in unison and actually playing a little bit of complementary football. Like, any level of elite quarterback play is going to put one of these teams into the discussion. And elite is not the standard, of course, but like, usually we're not having a playoff conversation at 1-3. But with how many just meh teams there are in the AFC, I don't think it's unrealistic.
And I think what's beneficial for the Titans too, just within, the AFC South, is if you look down, they're going to play the Colts, but then the next time they play an AFC South opponent is week 12 at Houston, right? And then it's Jacksonville, and then it's Indianapolis and Jacksonville and Houston all at the end of the year. So you really could give Will a real good chance to grow. Like, that's some good time with your own, division battles to grow as a quarterback. It's not like he's got to do it next week necessarily, and you're hitting all your division, rivals. Like, he has a little time to actually maybe grow into what he needs to be.
And Cincy was a bad example. More so, because Burrow's playing well, but you know what I mean.
But that's why I was going to go as far as where are you going to get elite play if the only person that is playing elite right now as far as quarterbacks that are losing is only Joe Burrow. Right now, he's completing 72%.
Yeah, that's why it was a bad example.
No, it ain't a bad example. It's just to let you know, where are the quarterbacks that's going to get hot? What team, how, and where is a team going to get hot? I look at Buffalo. Josh Allen, they're leading the division. Tua comes back. All right, can Tua stay back? That's also the question you got to ask yourself. New England's going with a rookie right now.
Justin Herbert getting healthy.
That team is just simply lost. They lost to a team in Pittsburgh. Well, he was also banged up, to your point. But all right, so we got 3 teams that are solid at this point out of the AFC. And there are 7 that make the playoffs. So you got Kansas City, check mark, easy. You have Houston, check mark.
Kansas City, Houston, Buffalo, Baltimore, I would say, are the class of the AFC today.
Yeah.
4 teams that are playing better than when they started the season and feel good about where they are.
And feel good about where they are. They have an actual plan for how they're getting wins. Everybody else don't at this point. And do you trust Todd Downing to correct what's going on in New Jersey?
No, I think that was I think there's so much going on there that no fix is really going to fix the overall problem. They might have a little bump for 2 or 3 games. I think there's more going on behind the scenes. At least you don't have that with the Titans. From all that I've heard and been around the facility, there's not drama going on, at least. There's no division yet. So at least you don't have all that crap behind the scenes. You're just trying to figure out who you are as a team on the field. And rightfully so. It is still a new team. But yeah, I don't think a Downing switch that's calling the plays is going to make a difference for the Jets.
So then from there, I think the Steelers, because Mike Tomlin's still the head coach, are always going to be right there.
Yep.
And who knows what Russell Wilson's role looks like moving forward for that team if Justin Fields continues to manage the offense at the level he is now. So that's 5 teams.
That's 5.
So then somebody of Chargers, Broncos, Colts, Bengals getting hot, Dolphins getting healthy, Jets looking competent, Titans, Jags. Trevor Lawrence still did earn the contract he got, even though he's underachieved this year.
He did.
He still had some flashes. That's the largest point, is that this game is critical for the Titans on Sunday, because if you lose to the Colts, it's twofold. You hurt your own playoff chances significantly. You help Indy's playoff chances significantly, and you put them right in the conversation at 3-3. 615-737-1045 is our number. Your thoughts on the question of hour 1 this morning. Do you believe the Titans can be frisky enough to get back in the playoff picture with a win on Sunday? We can take your reaction on that. Plus, I've got a crazy stat on something that I don't believe is real, but apparently is, about one of the biggest games of the college football weekend. Coming up for you next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Is your water heater not heating? Maybe your sink is leaking or the drain is clogged. Well, hey, available 24/7, 365. Our expert friends at Lee Company have you covered for all of your plumbing needs. And right now, you can enjoy $20 off a plumbing service call for a limited time. Just remember this phone number, 615-567-1000, or you can head online to leecompany.com for an appointment to take care of your home's plumbing from top to bottom. Again, that's $20 off your next plumbing service call at leecompany.com. These are the folks I trust because they've got 80 years of experience of doing business the right way here in Middle Tennessee. They've been trusted since 1944. open 24/7 with 14 community locations in Tennessee and in Kentucky and Alabama as well. 615-567-1000. Enjoy $20 off your next plumbing service call when you head online to leecompany.com. That's Lee Company, all you need. Friday morning, and we're acting like it on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, 615-737-1045. Question of the opening hour of the show. Could a win over Indy spark the Titans to competing again in the AFC playoff picture? To react to that, 615-737-1045. Guys, in the Red River rivalry this weekend, something will be happening for the first time in 120 years.
Ooh.
Michael Hawkins, the Oklahoma quarterback, first true freshman to start for Oklahoma at quarterback in the 120-year history of the Red River rivalry.
You're kidding me.
And then next, he's going to be challenged to say the words Red River rivalry 5 times in a row without stuttering.
Don't ask me to say that. I will fail.
Gosh. Yeah, same here. You got to slow down to say that one. I wonder if it's because that game carries so much weight, like throwing a freshman in that. I mean, that causes for a lot of trust for a game that many don't understand. Like, we can watch it on TV, but of course, being in those big-time weekend battles like that, you don't understand. Because I'll tell you, first person here, the Florida game in 2004 was my first time, like, being a part of, like, a game that big.
So fun.
Like, I didn't understand the weight of it. Like, I didn't understand what the cigars meant at the Alabama game my first time around. Like, it was a lot of just those moments that as a freshman, you like, okay, what do I do? So I can't imagine being a quarterback for either one of those teams with the history that they have to say, I'm this confident
Sure.
in a freshman to throw him out there. Like, who's been that good that either one of those teams have had? I mean, well, Oklahoma's had that has played that game. So Vince Young then didn't play as a freshman.
This is just for Oklahoma.
Just for Oklahoma, yeah. And that's the thing, too. It is rare, too, because you have a freshman quarterback that comes in and plays in a game like this. Moan, you were mentioning just having that confidence. Also, just having the team believe in you, because you got a young guy like that. You got a huge game, a huge rivalry, and you have him coming out for the first time. It's not like you all could just gung-ho, all right, like you're going to say that. But when you think about it, how can you know really what he is, though, as a quarterback?
You don't. But it's going to be an eye-opener for him right here.
It'll be
The
fun to
last
watch.
freshman, though, to play at quarterback against Texas,
You're going to steal my stat from me?
Caleb Williams.
Yep.
Was it Caleb?
Look at that.
Spencer Rattler was benched as Texas led 35-17 with 6:41 left in the second quarter. And Caleb Williams come in and lit it up. That was his coming out party. And Oklahoma won in 4 overtimes, 53-45.
What else you got for us back there, Bert? That's it? Just one fact today?
I think my trunk has been unpacked.
I'm sorry, man. Shout out to Pat then. What time is that game? Is it midday?
Yes.
Midday. All right, for sure. I'm
Let's
looking
just
forward
hope
to
the
seeing
wagon doesn't tip. A couple years ago, I think the wagon tipped over
Love that for
when they
them.
were running out.
That's the reason we got this wheel
I
right
think
here.
that's
Yeah,
the last
I
thing
saw that.
Oklahoma's worried about. I think they would take that if it meant they could win the game. I think there's just something, I don't know what it is. I get the feeling that game is going to be closer than people think.
I mean, most rivalries are, though. You know? And, and
but
especially,
this one's
least
this is
for
a
a while.
2-touchdown spread in favor of
Is it
Texas. I mean, it's just too many points for me in a game like this. And maybe I'm wrong, but
I just think because, Quinn Ewers is back, and clearly they didn't skip a beat much without him and with Archin.
Yeah.
However, I think Quinn is probably in the same situation. When he's sitting and watching from the sideline, he's anxious to get out there. I feel like they might be close in the first half, but I do feel like they've just got more offensively, Texas does, that's going to overwhelm in the end, just because offensively Oklahoma can't really put together consistent drives.
I thought Auburn played Oklahoma fine. Well, Oklahoma did. Like, it was, as far as like tight games, they've played in one. Has Texas Texas played in a tight game yet? Too, the same thing we were saying about Ole
Michigan.
Miss. Michigan was a tight game for them?
yeah.
What was the score? Are you sure it wasn't a double digit?
It was never in doubt.
Yeah,
but
no.
It was not a. I mean, I think the point is they are battle tested. Like, they've played a good team on the road. Michigan's a good team.
Michigan's a good team.
In that building where they hadn't lost in 2 years, yes.
Okay. All right. If you say so, I don't view it the
I think
same
so.
as them playing the SEC versus SEC team on this one right here. Because looking what Alabama did to Wisconsin is my thing. Is my only way of correlating what's happened here so far. I say the physicality that Oklahoma saw against Auburn makes me believe they can be that physical against Texas this upcoming weekend to
Defensively,
keep
yeah.
it close. I'm not saying they're going to beat them.
No, I'm
but
not
to
either.
keep them close.
Yeah.
I would side with you. If I'm betting that game, I'm betting under the 14. Well, plus 14.
Okay.
I think it's even moved more towards Texas since Quinn Ewers was officially confirmed as starting the game. But Oklahoma, again, no Deion Burks, no Nick Anderson. They are once again missing their top 5 receivers.
They got a defense.
Jeez. They do. And that defense has helped absolutely win games. But how much more can you continue to rely on them?
I mean, we're saying the same thing for the Titans.
Exactly. I know. Just at a different level.
Is it on campus at either one of them, or is it
Dallas?
It's still in Dallas. Goodness.
If I could pick one rivalry to go to that is not my team's, this one might be number 1. I would love to go to a Texas-Oklahoma game, go to the Texas State Fair, eat fried foods that aren't supposed to be fried. It would be so much fun. And I love that stadium. I watched you play in that stadium.
Yeah, I have.
Is that the Cotton Bowl?
Tennessee crushed Texas A&M. Yeah, in the Cotton Bowl. The old Cotton Bowl.
That stadium goes vertical, too.
Yes, it does.
It is vertical as heck.
We got some drunk A&M fans thrown out of that game for, flipping me off at age 7.
Love that for them.
I was 7 years old, and they were not very hospitable towards me with their Crown and Coke.
Was your neighbor now? That'd be awesome if it was your neighbor.
In Nashville? I don't know.
I mean, you just never know.
You never know. Everyone's moving here.
615-737-1045 is our number. Coming up, Bill Callahan talked yesterday to the media. Yes, I mean Bill, not Brian. Talking about what he sees in tackle Leroy Watson, how he evaluates Nicholas Petit-Frere as well. We'll tell you what we learned coming up next. Hey, it's Will Bowling. Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance was established in 1926. It is the largest and most comprehensive orthopedic practice in Tennessee. High school parents, high school athletes, if you're dealing with the bumps and bruises of another fall sports season, you got a couple sports like soccer, cross country starting to wrap up. You got football going into week 8. These are the folks that I trust to get you healthy, get on the path to being 100%. Again, they are the leading experts in sports medicine and performance, and they're the team physicians for NFL, college, and high school athletes across Tennessee. TOA provides sports medicine coverage to more high school and college sports teams than any orthopedic practice in the state of Tennessee. TOA.com, that's where you go to find the location nearest you. 29 locations throughout Tennessee, over 100 orthopedic physicians throughout Middle and East Tennessee to take care of all your musculoskeletal needs. That's Tennessee Orthopedic Alliance, online at TOA.com.
What's going on? 7:01. Good morning. Happy Friday from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. The San Francisco 49ers made their third trip to Lumen Field in as many seasons for a Thursday night football showdown versus the Seattle Seahawks. They got their victory 36-24 over the division rivals to the north. San Francisco has gone from number 3 in the NFC West standings to sharing a part of the crown with Seattle, and the team extends their win streak over the Seahawks to 6 straight games. Titans updated injury reports saw Traylon Burks return to practice after being absent for the birth of his child. Keandre Coburn and Jamal Adams remain out, while Jeffrey Simmons became a full participant after being limited earlier in the week. Colts got a couple players back at practice in offensive tackle Braden Smith, running back Trey Sermon, and Anthony Richardson, as they all practiced in full. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Seven a.m. and hour number 2 on a rivalry Friday morning. The show is RKW. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling. Robert Walsh keeps us between the navigational beacons. 615-737-1045 is how you make your voice heard. Coming up in 15 minutes, Fall Quest's Brent Hubs will preview Tennessee, Florida with us. Lots of more positivity coming out of Knoxville this week as practices have reportedly been a bit more lively. Tennessee, they better be on Florida week. And this is when I miss, Ramon, having the fried gator that would have been there today in the student-athlete cafeteria.
Probably too bougie
That's a
for
real
that
thing,
now.
huh?
No,
That is one of the
a real
things
thing.
that all the athletes would benefit from. Yeah. For you, it was in Gibbs. For me, it was in Smokies, which is the athlete lunch place below the football complex. Best part about being a student athlete at Tennessee.
Phenomenal now.
And they would put a picture right in front of the Gator Nuggets of Smokey holding a little gator in his mouth.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it. Because I know I took a picture of it my freshman year, the first time we had gator. It's very good.
So are gator nuggets like chicken nuggets, but
Tastes like
obviously
chicken.
gator, right? And they taste like chicken
a little
too.
bit more firm texture to it.
Do they-
It's like a mix of
You'd
chicken
like
and
it.
shrimp.
Really?
Yeah,
It's like the in between of
Are they
chicken and shrimp.
breaded too?
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
It's
interesting.
the best way to have them.
They're
It's
so
probably
good.
fried nuggets.
Okay.
Yeah, I have one of my boys is a picky eater. Absolutely loves them. Yeah, absolutely
I'll have to
loves
try
them.
this
Yeah, I
sometime.
ain't gonna say picky, but like just now starting to explore
Yeah,
more
like
foods.
different types of things
Yeah,
like
it's
chicken
like
and
gator.
steak.
It's like, oh, he likes gator.
Okay.
It's actually pretty good. It's a clean meat too.
Oh.
Yeah, actually pretty
Clean
solid.
meat? What is
yeah,
that?
it don't have
like
like a
it.
fishy, oily taste to it. You know?
Yeah.
It's a water animal, of course, because it's an alligator. It's stating the obvious.
Thanks.
Now. But it's
Scout
not
Travis.
Tune in
like,
tomorrow for more animal facts with Moans.
I feel like when I've had squirrel or I've had like
What?
other
You've had
like
squirrel?
rabbit. Yeah, I'm a to the core. This
You say
bougie.
you're
music,
country.
You're a country dude.
I'm a country
Right.
boy, like legitimately. Like I've had squirrel or rabbit. Like you can tell it's not like from the store. Like with alligator, it doesn't have like that gamey taste to it to me.
That
to break it
explains
down
it.
to you. Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
It's really good.
Yeah, it is. It's actually really good. They usually give you like a little remoulade to go with it. Oh my gosh, it's so good.
So
I gotta try
Yahoo
this.
Sports actually put an article out at the beginning of the week telling Vols fans where in Knoxville they can get fried gator.
Oh, lovely.
Citing the Shrimp Dock and Hard Knocks Pizza. Hard Knocks Pizza has
Hard Knocks
Okay.
is so good.
fried gator pizza.
Hard Knocks
A
is
fried
so
gator pizza?
good.
I ain't gonna lie. I'd take a slice. As long as they
Hard
don't like
Knocks,
Gator
pile it up.
pizza.
As long as they don't pile it up with like a bunch of cheese. I think a pizza with alligator on it doesn't need like cheese on it too much. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So yeah, I'd be into that.
There you
It
go.
says
Find
they're
a
also
picture.
offering po' boys with fried gator. which sounds gas.
Yes, sounds
Ooh,
awesome.
it might give you gas, but
No,
it sounds gas too.
you live that
At
life.
this point
though.
in my life, everything gives me gas.
Everything.
I can't help it.
Are you at the heartburn phase too?
Oh yeah.
Acid
oh
reflux?
yeah. I got
Okay.
my bed is on stilts
Yeah.
because they say that like if you put the head of your bed
And lean
on
it,
stilts, so
yeah.
it's lean, so the acid can't mess with your throat as much.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but I get acid reflux, heartburn,
Yes.
whatever you want to call it, bad as nothing.
I had a moment last
Not
night.
catch.
So we had like a late lunch, essentially what it was yesterday, and I was at a point I was just like, well, I don't know what I want to eat, and I'm naming off everything to Keisha, and she's just naming stuff to me. I was like, well, I can't eat that because I don't want that much bread right now. I don't want that because it's going to give me acid reflux.
I've not had that age
Like you know what I end up having? I end up having 2 chicken tenders and some coleslaw and just like a little bit of dirty rice. Like I was just like, this is all I need. And honestly, that's what I should have been having anyway. But legitimately, I make decisions based off how I didn't want to feel last night.
Exactly.
I'm becoming Unk now. I'm headed to Unk. I don't know what you are, Burgers. You're a few years behind me.
I'm funk.
You funk. Okay. All right.
that makes sense.
Cool Unk is what
Unk
you
and
are.
funk.
They call me Dadgummit. My brother's kids call me Unky Funky.
Unky Funky. I'm here for that. It's because of the stuff that you have in the air around you that make you smell a certain
It's just
type of way?
something that I smell a little funky when I'm around them.
Like
I
a
guess.
skunk, I guess.
Something like that.
So yesterday at Ascension St. Thomas Sports Park, Titans getting ready for the Indianapolis Colts, and Bill Callahan spoke with the media talking about Leroy Watson, the right tackle option behind Nicholas Petit-Frere, or maybe we should just say in addition to Nicholas Petit-Frere. Loves his athleticism, something we mentioned this week about a guy that ran a 4.91 40, a converted tight end. And clearly, Bill Callahan likes the ceiling that athleticism gives him at the position. Says he really likes his feet and footwork specifically at that spot.
Yeah, he said he's real versatile, and clearly you play tight end. You've transferred over to a guy that's played line. He's played guard in certain situations. So I think in this case, guys, when you're looking at this being maybe back to an open competition in a way, it gives them a little hope that maybe Bill can put him into the mold he needs him to be at this point for that right tackle position. I'm not saying MPF is completely out at this point, and neither did he. But I think he sees a lot of potential in Watson.
And it just honestly hopes that it pushes NPF more than anything.
And that's a big part of it, right?
That's what I see it as. And if NPF doesn't answer the call or doesn't show some level of consistency, then he does like a guy like Leroy Watson. My only issue with Leroy Watson is when you're a reserve guy and you go from playing guard to tackle to guard, and you extra tight end and stuff like that too, it's the understanding of which position you're going to be playing at.
Sure.
And again, the movement this week is clearly all tackles because he's tackle versus tackle because he's going against NPF. But I look at this situation and somewhat say to myself, well, is this going to be that much better going to this game week against this rush that they have? Because Kwity Paye will be out there, and Liatu Latu is a guy that can get off the edge too. And the best thing that you can hope is if NPF and this offensive line turn this game this weekend into a run game too, to where they can control the line of scrimmage. That's where it starts.
And I spoke to J.C. Latham about that yesterday, just how important that is. And of course, he's going to say it's always important in terms of getting that run game going, but especially taking advantage of the point that the Colts rush defense is not
trash.
great, right?
It's horrendous.
It's really bad. It's 32nd, I think, or
31st.
31st, yeah.
31st.
In
What
the
you
league.
don't want, God, I hope this ain't the case, because we had that spell show up too, is having this Colts defense reset themselves against the Titans.
You don't
this
want
weekend,
that.
because it just means more on this week.
They would do that from time to time against Derrick Henry, where the intensity level would go up just a little bit.
Yeah.
Zach is in Hendersonville, 615-737-1045. I imagine to say a couple things about some Gators. Zach, good morning.
Morning.
Good morning. Good morning, Ramon, Kayla, Will, Bert. Yeah, I do have a few things to say about some Gators. Let's get to it. Jabbar, no way he caught that ball, Gaffney. Lagway or Mertz, they are both A. Percy, Cam Newton ratted you out. Harvin. Billy, down bad. Napier. I have a poem for the entire University of Florida. No battered Vols syndrome in sight. A primetime game checkered with orange and white. Billy Napier looking to the crowd in fright, and his brain function isn't right. Nico revenge game incoming, and Vol Nation shining under the lights. If you love the Gators, you obviously aren't very bright. WG, WTFA on Rocky Top tomorrow night. It don't matter. Balls by 50. Hit the music, Bert.
There we go, Zach. Very nice.
My man Zach bringing it.
Zach
love it.
in
Air
Hendersonville.
Friday, baby.
Yep.
Air Friday.
He
My
puts in a
personal
lot of work.
favorite was the Jabbar Gaffney part.
Yeah.
That bum.
Yeah. I didn't realize Percy did ratted on Cam. Man.
Or maybe Cam ratted on him.
Either way, Cam
Who's to
got
say?
gone.
Yeah.
Who's to say?
Cam was gone.
Cam
He
was
got to
gone.
sit down. He was
Rivalry
gone.
week, I don't need facts with my hate. I
know.
just need all
Yeah.
hate. I don't need any side dishes.
Why am I trying to get clarity here?
I just need a plate full of hate.
right.
You're an investigative
That's what I'm
reporter.
saying.
Bums like
Okay.
Jabbar Gaffney
Why?
who didn't catch a touchdown pass that counted as a touchdown before replay.
That's what I'm talking about, Zach. Zach,
That's
next time I see you, coffee or something on me.
I know.
all right?
I
Whatever
want to
you
see
need.
his process. Like it's very good, and he goes into the historics of it. So it's very well thought out. Delivery's
No,
great.
friend of the show, Zach from Hendersonville. I don't see all the Henderson. By the way, I saw somebody yesterday at the store, and they was just like, "Man, love you guys' show. I absolutely love seeing y'all in
But
public."
you need like bodyguards now. I think.
No,
I
I
think we need
don't.
to
It's
order you
just
some bodyguards.
my size gives it away, and then the voice too. It's just
Yeah,
like,
the minute you
yeah.
open your- yeah, exactly.
The minute I open his mouth, it's just like, "Oh, who are you again?
Oh,
you
yeah.
know who the hell I am."
Ramon.
Don't say that. I don't save that.
Ramon.
Please don't save that.
7:13. Coming up next, Brent Hubs of AllQuest previews Tennessee and Florida after this. Oh, we are back in business this Sunday. Titans and Colts, the Tighten Up tailgate at Gray and Dudley, the Bankers Alley Hotel. We can't wait to get back out there. Sunday before home games all season long. I'm hanging out with you guys 9:30 to 11:30. Look, we got parking, we got drinks, we got food, we got everything that you need, including a combo of $40 valet parking, and you're going to get a burger and a beer thrown in with that as well. The smash burgers are great. The brats always on point. The mac and cheese, the drink selection is fantastic as well. 221 2nd Avenue North. Easy way to get in and out of downtown Nashville with minimal traffic on your way home. Easy walking distance from Nissan Stadium. Come by and see us. Gray and Dudley, Bankers Alley Hotel will be there 9:30 a.m. before Titans and Colts this weekend. RKW, Ramon, Kayla, and Will on a Friday morning in beautiful Music City. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling with a big one to preview for you in Knoxville tomorrow night, Tennessee and Florida. VolQuest's Brent Hubs joins us here on the show this morning, as he does at this time every week. Brent, what's up? Good morning.
Good morning. How are you guys this morning?
I'm good. All I know is I heard your name get a shout out because last night on Rivalry Thursday, our good friends Eric Kane and Austin Price mentioned something about Andy Griffith as Brentwood Academy played Knoxville Catholic and George McIntyre was on the field, and all of a sudden I hear Brent Hubs get a shout out because there's an Andy Griffith shout out. So you were being mentioned last night. I'm sure you were probably aware of that.
I was not aware, but you can remember this. You can always use any Andy Griffith episode for a lesson in life.
Yes.
And so, that's why it's America's greatest television show. So we use those lessons, and Tennessee's looking for every lesson they could find to get ready to play the Gators tomorrow night.
I love it.
Well, hopefully the music will be banging because I'm sure because you've listened, Glorilla released today, Hub. So all the Memphis recruits, okay, and all the Memphis guys we have signed will be on tilt, just so you know, just like you will.
Well, we'll all be ready to go, but certainly Tennessee needs Bryson Easton from Memphis and a few of those
Yes.
other Memphis
Big O.
cats in the orange uniform. Big O. They need some guys, what'd you call it, on tilt?
On tilt,
There we go.
yes.
Okay, on
Yes.
tilt. Very good. All right, thanks.
Or if we go back to the mid-2000s, Lil Jon, Crunk, Crunk is what we'll use. Yes, we need him Crunk.
Okay, I was thinking of the teacups at Disney World when you were on tilt, but what do I know?
Right? Those are the best ones,
We're
right?
blending worlds. That's the type of things we like right there, Hubs.
I love it. Well, we've had Ramon talking about Gibbs Hall Gator Nuggets this morning from back in his playing days, Brent. So we put Ramon back in that 2004 mindset with that game kind of went pretty well for Tennessee.
Did.
Yeah, it did go well for Tennessee. Obviously, a young quarterback came of age there in Eric Ainge, and that was a wild night. And listen, it's a reminder of what this series is truly all about. And for Tennessee fans, there's a lot of pain and heartache, and that's why there'll be a lot of angst going into the stadium, not just because of what happened last week in Fayetteville, but you take what happened in Fayetteville and you couple it with the fact that Tennessee has found a lot of ways to lose this game when they've been equal to or better than Florida, particularly the last 20 years or so. And it'll be a bite your nail night for sure. So hopefully Tennessee can get out of the gates and get off to a decent start. Something they could not do last week, something they did not do last year in terms of getting off the field. You look at take off down the field for whatever reason. I'm not sure where they're going, but I like the fact that they got him out, got him a simple read, got him an easy throw. They had 14 yards there. They're getting ready to go tempo, and you're thinking, all right, here we go. And then all of a sudden now it's 1st and 15. So you got to avoid the early mistakes, but give him something easy to get him going a little bit. I also think you got to let him, run the football. You go back and look, he had 68, 67 yards rushing against NC State. He hadn't had that many yards rushing since in 3 games. Now, you don't run him against Kent State, but really he only had one called run the last 2 weeks. Now, he's had some scrambles, but they had a called run for him to get a first down to end the game at Oklahoma to put him in a kneel-down situation. That was a 16-yard run. Outside of that, his legs haven't been a factor. I don't think you run him 15, 20 times a game, but in critical moments and critical situations, his legs have to be something that defenses have to account for. I don't think they're having to do that very well right now. And I think the other thing, too, is get him some shorter throws. Give him some quicker things to throw. I've watched a bunch of stuff this week, going back to 22 and going back to last year. And the first possession last year against Alabama, Joe Milton runs an RPO, and the RPO throw is basically a little 6-yard seam route to Squirrel White. It's just an easy throw based on how the linebacker played Joe Milton at the mesh point. You got to do some easier things, I think, for Nico to start the game and get him into a better rhythm.
Brent Hubs of VolQuest with us this morning. Hubs, with that being said, also, I feel like this week the conversation has been the offense getting back to what we expect from Coach Heupel. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I heard him on Tuesday night bring that up when asked that question, like, hey, where's the tempo, where's the pace? Is that something that we need to expect this upcoming weekend too, getting back to that 2021-22 pace?
Yeah, I don't know that they'll get back to the warp speed that they were, but they have to get back to playing that style of football. And listen, Josh Heupel's got the best defense he's ever had. So naturally you're going to play a little more complimentary football. You got a young quarterback, you got helmet communication, so maybe you're trying to get into the perfect call too often. But Tennessee in 21 and 22, and really early in part of the season in 23 last year, was largely about pace of play and going fast. Because what do? That creates chaos for the other side of the ball. How many times have we seen, everybody keeps asking me, why aren't receivers 5, 7, 10 yards wide open like they were in 22? Why couldn't the receivers do that? Well, part of the reason why Jalen Hyatt was so wide open, yes, he can run, but when you've got the safety in the corner talking and looking at each other when the ball snapped, to borrow no Trooper Taylor line, Ramon Foster, you're beat at birth. It's over. and so it's one of those things where Tennessee is not creating chaos. Saturday night in Arkansas, the Arkansas defense created the chaos for the Tennessee offense, which is not something we have seen very often under Josh Heupel. I do think Tennessee's got to go faster, and they can't just go faster after a 15 or 20-yard gain. You got to recognize that a 4 to 6 yard gain on defense or on offense on first down is still a win, and you can still go fast. So I do think Tennessee will try to play with more tempo at home early in this game to try to see if they can get Florida's defense on their heels.
Love that. We have Brent Hubs with us on today at his weekly spot. Hubs, so you mentioned what Arkansas did then, and here's my thing. Where has Tim Banks been in this conversation as far as beating opposing teams and their scripts? Because, again, you look at the Arkansas game, and Florida did it last year. Is there an understanding that I got the guys to take risk with to beat the script? Because if you can get that ball back fast, a 3-and-out in that first series, then the offense can put people in the corner and stuff them in.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And that was the surprise of last week. Let me say this, too. I did not give Taylon Green, the Arkansas quarterback, a whole lot of respect for his accuracy or to throw the football. He had not been very accurate in the games I had watched. He had moments where he threw it pretty well, but it was a roller coaster through the game, right? Like one series, he'd look like he threw it pretty good. The next series, there was behind him, in the dirt, everywhere else. He threw the ball extremely well Saturday from an accuracy standpoint. Now, Tennessee helped him early. I think Tennessee was probably really consumed with the perimeter. Arkansas had run it on the perimeter more than they'd run it between the tackles. And they had thrown it more to the right side than they really had done anything else. They threw the ball in the middle of the field. They picked on Tennessee's zone. I think Tennessee's linebackers were probably quick to vacate, thinking Green was going to run, and created some bigger holes in those zones. So Tennessee's got to tighten it up in the middle of the field. Because here's what we do know about Florida and Graham Mertz, okay? They are going to throw the football in the middle of the field. That's where they play. That's where Graham Mertz is most comfortable throwing the football, is working the middle of the field. Yes, he'll move a little bit, but he's not moving to run. He's moving to extend plays. Tennessee has to play much better in their zone coverage at the linebacker and safety levels than they did last week, and certainly a lot better than they did a year ago. Tennessee's linebackers got picked on big time in this game a year ago, especially early, which is why Florida had success on 3rd and long in the middle of the field. Tennessee's they've got to be tighter in that zone stuff, Ramon. And then James Pierce, who showed up statistically pretty well in the Arkansas game, has got to build on that and be effective to against Graham Mertz and get some pass rush.
VolQuest, Brent Hubs joining us this morning on RKW. So after the game against Arkansas, Dylan Sampson had some thoughts about maybe being too lackadaisical during that open date. Brent, what have you heard about just this week's of practice and how they maybe have refocused?
You've heard good things. Now, I know fans take that with a grain of salt, right? Because you heard good things leading up to Arkansas, like, oh, yeah, so the focus has been good, everybody's ready to go, and you don't go play well, and then you have one of your team leaders say, well, we didn't have a very good run of practice over 2 weeks. But I do think the focus has been better. I think there's no greater attention getter in sports than losing. I think it's always been that way. I think it will always be that way. So I think everybody's focus has been better. And you talk to people privately, and there's a lot of people who said, yeah, it wasn't the best set of practices that we've seen in the Josh Heupel era. Even though when asked about it, Heupel kind of downplayed it and said, practice was fine. They just got to go play better. I think at that point, Josh Heupel was really tired of talking about Arkansas and wanted to go forward and talk about Florida. But I don't think it was their best work over the last 2 weeks. I think this week has been better, but you got to go out and perform. And Saturday night's the next test. Quarterback's got to take a step. He's got to grow. He's been sacked 14 times in 6 career starts. That's too many. Some of that's on the offensive line. Some of that's on the tight ends and the running backs. And some of that's, quite frankly, on the quarterback. He's got to get it out of his hands at times. So Tennessee's got to play in a better rhythm offensively, and they need to get out of the gates and get going.
Brent Hubs joining us this morning on RKW like he does every Friday at this time. When it comes to availability of some of these wide receivers, what can you tell us in terms of who we will see on the field probably on Saturday, with Brew McCoy, Squirrel White being some of the names that were questionable?
Well, the surprise is Squirrel White, given the way he left the field in the fourth quarter. That kind of looked like it might be a collarbone issue. It's not. He's got a little shoulder sprain, but he's braced it up. He's practiced this week. He's a tough character now. He's not the biggest guy in the world, but mentally, he's a pretty tough dude. So he's going to give it a go. I don't think he'll return punts, but he's going to give it a go and be available for Tennessee. We'll see how much he plays, if there's a snap count or how that goes. There's no way Brew McCoy was going to miss this game. He's dealing with a hand injury of some kind. They've got him fitted up. They've got a glove, and they've got things padded up for him. He's going to go and play tomorrow night. I think that's big for Nico. I think Nico needs him as a bit of a security blanket out there, because he's seemed most comfortable with Brew the last 2 games on the road. And then we'll see. The biggest question mark seems to be Dante Thornton. He's still listed as questionable. We'll see what the update on that is tonight. I think there's a feeling that one may be trending in a more positive direction for him after he got rolled up on a wide receiver screen blocking situation. So they may be okay there numbers-wise. Are they going to be 100% healthy with some of them? Probably not, but it looks like they may be close to having everybody available for them at that position. So, again, you got to find ways to get them the ball easier, help your quarterback out, and go make plays. And some of those guys have to play better too. I mean, you had some receivers last week. You're supposed to run a 15-yard dig, and you run it at 17 yards. That's a problem for your timing. And so they've got to play that, Tennessee across the board has to play a smarter brand of football than they played last week.
Brent Hubs of On Quested on 3, our guests this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Brent, how big of an issue are Tennessee's tackles and some of the plays that show up on film? And I know that 40-yard bomb to Dante Thornton has gone kind of viral, and Lance Hurd, and kind of the effort maybe, or just the fatigue that set in on that play. What's your concern level for Tennessee at that position right now?
Well, that play's a little bit, not humorous, but I look at that play, and it's not like the defensive end was coming off the ball like J.J. Watt was. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, both those guys were extremely tired, and it was just kind of an ugly dance, and then the defensive end decided to go a little bit. Lance has got to play better. I mean, but so does John Campbell, and so does Javonte Spraggins. Spraggins gave up too much pressure on the inside. So did the whole line. Gave up too much pressure. Lance looked like a guy at times Saturday night that had not played football in nearly a month. He's also a guy, too, that coming into the season, he had played about 200 snaps in college football. And then in the preseason, he didn't scrimmage. He and Campbell didn't scrimmage very much in the preseason, and I think that shows a little bit. So we'll see how much improvement they can make, and do they rotate to kind of keep guys fresh? Do you play Larry Johnson and Dane Davis? We saw Davis in the second half on the scoring drive. Do they rotate him more frequently to try to help those guys out a little bit? We'll see what Glenn Ellerbe needs to do. they have to pass protect better, period. It starts at the tackle position, but also they've got to communicate on the stunts and the twist, which they missed on Saturday night. The tight ends, when they're chip blocking and helping, they got to help better. They missed a couple of help assignments. Running back wise, they missed a couple of assignments that led to sacks. So I don't think it's isolated to one position on the offensive line. It's not isolated to one person on the offensive line. It's clearly evident they did not play well across the board, especially at tackle. But there's a lot of things that a lot of people need to do better to keep the quarterback upright. And he's been hit too much all season long. They got to protect him better starting Saturday night.
Hubs also with a Saturday night game at night inside of Neyland. There's going to be a lot of festivities going on, man, and a lot of big-time recruits, too. Where are the Vols with their commitments? Shady Hayward, I see, is going to be in town. Is Harmon, the linebacker, inside linebacker? Where are they at with those guys continually to recruit them?
Well, I mean, it's important to get them to town because you really haven't had an opportunity. I mean, you're saying, hey, come up and watch the Kent State game for a 7:30 start. Some mamas are going, we really want to drive up there for that one? This is the first big game and the first big opportunity to get these guys on campus. And some of these guys have taken visits elsewhere while you've been away from home or you haven't played big-time competition. Shady Hayward's been in Athens, Georgia. Harmon's been in Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So you want to get them in town and you want to get them back comfortable around everybody else. I mean, Christian Gass is supposed to be in town. He's hearing from Georgia plenty. Tennessee's recruiting at a level that people are not stopping recruiting their commitments. So it's important. They've got a bunch of good players coming in, uncommitted guys coming in the class of 26, class of 27. But it's extremely important for Tennessee to get these committed guys back around the team, back around the other committed guys, continue to create that environment and that culture that you had created with them when they committed in the summertime. And so I think it's important to get them in town this weekend. This is a big weekend for recruiting. Next weekend at 3:30 will be a big weekend as well.
Brent Hubs of VolQuest on 3 joins us Fridays here on the show. You'll hear him tomorrow night, courtesy of the Vol Network, as Tennessee takes on Florida. Great stuff, Brent. Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Hubs.
Thanks, Brent.
Thanks, guys. Have a great weekend, okay?
Yes, sir.
too.
There's Brent Hubs, brought to you by Ascend Federal Credit Union, your financial partner for every stage of life. I am waiting for the time now where Brent in his halftime stats updates on the Vol Network says that Dylan Sampson really on tilt in that first half.
Right?
19 carries, 170 yards.
He's welcome.
He's getting crunk.
I don't know what's
not really, but
I don't know what's more likely.
Yeah.
Dylan Sampson running for 170 yards in the first half, or Brent describing it as on tilt.
He did say that
Who's to say?
convincingly,
He
though,
did
when he
say it,
said, I
yeah.
was like, that actually came off kind of natural.
Yeah, he's picking up what I was putting down. Hub gets it.
Yeah.
He can go from the greenhouse, you know what I'm saying, to the trap house.
You're right.
That's where he's at right now.
Coming up, most interesting games of the college football weekend. There are lots of them to discuss. We'll tell you something about every big college game coming up tomorrow next. Wrapping up the first half of your Friday morning. Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW, 615-737-1045. Mike Keith in a half hour. Aditi King Kabala of NFL on CBS. She'll be on the sidelines for Titans and Colts. We'll catch up with her at 9:20. The Red River rivalry. Give me that over Ohio State, Oregon. Red River rivalry means something. Come on. You got a lot of fried food and a lot of local tradition around this game. So we're going to start with that one. Oklahoma, 121st in total offense in college football. No, that's not good. Texas, second in scoring defense. I don't know what Texas is bad at this point of the season.
No, I have no clue.
The color orange.
It is the wrong color orange. That is a great answer right there, by the way. But as a football team, yeah, not much at all that they're bad at. They didn't miss a beat when they switched quarterbacks, and they continue to play good defense and got a really good offense too. So yeah, Oklahoma got their hands full, but I'm gonna trust a little bit of that defense that it won't be a blowout. That's the way I see it.
I think it'll make it interesting for sure. And you guys have said this and understand it all when we're looking at a college rivalry game. It can always go any way.
Yeah.
And we've seen it in the past. I mean, you saw it back in the day with Alabama and Auburn, and it takes a miracle sometimes to actually have it happen.
Yeah.
But you always have to give it some credit that it's going to be a good game. We'll see. I think they'll keep it close in that first half. I just think overall, guys, Texas, like you said, they just have so much going for them. And offensively, I think Oklahoma's just trying to find its identity, and this is probably not the time to think you're going to
figure it out right now in the middle of the season. Absolutely not.
Night game in Death Valley. I like LSU over Ole Miss for a couple of reasons. I think LSU's strength of getting after the quarterback matches up with the Ole Miss weakness of protecting Jackson Dart. He's been under pressure 49 times out of 198 dropbacks. And LSU's defense against South Carolina, 15 pressures on 39 dropbacks. It's 39% of the time. And Miller Moss was able to be efficient enough when pressured to allow USC to beat LSU. But here's the big one. Ole Miss, 129th in penalties per game. That is not a good recipe for success on a Saturday night in Death Valley.
It would be even more if they got them for those fake injuries that they have going on.
Fair enough.
Golly.
That was pretty bad.
Fair enough.
It's been bad, and everybody tells them how bad they are. But yeah, you're right. Jackson Dart has the it factor a little bit too. Nussmeier can make it happen as far as LSU's concerned. It's just the environment of playing a road SEC game at night is where you got to see LSU capitalize on it. Brian Kelly's not a bad coach, and they got some great athletes on this LSU squad. I don't believe too much in what Ole Miss got going on. Of course, in my Thursday 3, I picked LSU on this one.
Yeah, it's a tough place to play. That is the one place I've heard all the stories about it. I've never been there. I'd like to check it out sometime.
It's tough.
It just seems so cool. And you got two really quarterbacks that are being able to do their jobs within Jackson Dart, 350 yards per game. Garrett Nussmeier, 330 yards per game. So clearly you've got some quarterbacks who are able to throw the ball, but it's really what can LSU's defense do that it didn't do last year against this Ole Miss team? They allowed like 700 yards last year, and that's what kind of set the button for them to have to really reset everything defensively for LSU. And I know they're not back to that level with their defense yet, but this is a really good time for them to get back at Ole Miss and saying, hey, you're not going to embarrass us again, especially on our home field. Yeah. So I think it will be interesting. Both teams have a couple guys that are questionable. I know Ole Miss's top receiver, he had a lower leg thing going last week against South Carolina. So he'll be out. And I know Ole Miss.
Harris, I think.
And then I know LSU's got some guys out too. So I think it's whoever shows up with their big boy pants this weekend.
Well, this is also where LSU complained a couple years back about playing a 1 o'clock or 3 o'clock game against the Vols. They need all day to get ready for this game. Right? It was a noon game, against the Vols.
11 a.m. Central.
They get a big game opportunity now. I don't think that crowd or that team is going to let that one slip.
I agree. There are not many people out there that can say they have won as a road team under the lights in Death Valley, but we are sitting in the same room as one of them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look at that.
21-point comeback.
Right after Katrina, too.
Yeah.
Dang.
I had the flu during that time, and we left the watch party we were at halftime, down by 21. And I guess y'all were just waiting on us to get home.
Yeah,
because clearly what we do in our watching habits affects what happens on the field, clearly. So you're welcome, by the way, all of you.
Quiet the crowd? Like how
we
quiet
did. Damn,
yeah.
was
that's
it was
Stop making
game-winning
mistakes on
drive.
offense, dude.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were. Earlier in that game, we had a couple injuries that popped us where I ended up coming into the game, finishing that game. It was such a whirlwind.
There was an
I bet.
Orlovsky.
Such a whirlwind.
There was an Orlovsky moment in that game. Y'all were in the back of the end
Yes.
zone. You took a safety, didn't you?
Sure did.
Yeah.
Sure did. That game had a lot of ebb and flow, but the defense was monstrous that night, though.
Gerald Riggs with a touchdown in overtime, right?
Yeah, it was. I forget who the guard was that pulled on that play.
Huh.
Oh, could his name
Interesting.
be Ramon?
Framon.
Is it the guy that everyone sees at the store?
At the
Yeah.
store.
In
At the
Hendersonville?
store. Yeah.
There's certain words Ramon says where his West Tennessee comes out. That's one of them.
You say door, I say
Oregon,
dope.
Oregon, Ohio State. Something's got to give in this game. Big Ten teams 1-8 when they cross over 2 time zones.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Lanning, though, has lost 4 straight games to top 5 opponents. He's 15-1 in Autzen Stadium. I don't have a lot of read on this game, but I am still going to go with Oregon to cover the plus 3.5 because I think they get the job done. The battle in the trenches of Oregon's offensive line that has gotten a lot better after starting the year really, really poorly against the best defensive front in terms of getting after the passer in Ohio State. It's going to be a really fun matchup.
It is.
Yeah, go ahead, Mo.
No, I was just, I don't know how to judge this game. Like, it's,
I don't think anybody
expect
does,
it to be
really.
good. But what I do know is Oregon's been recruiting like a Big Ten SEC school for the last
they
few
have.
years.
Sure.
They have the bodies. They got the guys that can compete with them, right?
Yeah.
Like, we see that. It's just a matter of, I ain't had enough eyes on Ohio State, and Ohio State's played some games they just run away with to see, okay, will they be able to handle what Oregon's physicality is going to bring to them? In Eugene, too.
Look, I will say this. You know, you're traveling there. Ohio State's schedule has not been that hard. I mean, in the last 3 games, Marshall, Michigan State. I mean, Iowa's always a tricky team, and they took care of business there. But overall, they have not had a taxing schedule. They've also not had to go that far and be tested, and that's a whole nother type of situation. I'm just looking forward to it because we haven't seen really something like this in a while.
Coming up-
Indiana, by the way, leading the Big
Yeah.
Ten.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I had to say it.
No,
Texas
they-
A&M's to the top of the SEC right now with Texas.
Well, they played 3 games, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. Kurt Signetti, Hoosiers. I guarantee you Buck still couldn't name 5
I was going to
brothers
say,
on that team.
let's not put Buck in that
Coming
category.
up, second half of the show, we'll talk with Mike Keith about Titans and Colts coming up at 8:20. But I've got a major advantage the Vols have over the Florida Gators. I'm going to give you the X factor in Tennessee and Florida coming up next.
What's going on? 8:02. Good morning from the 104.5 The Zone Studios. I am Robert Walsh. The San Francisco 49ers made their third trip to Lumen Field in as many seasons for a Thursday night football showdown versus the Seattle Seahawks. They got their victory 36-24 over their divisional rivals to the north. San Francisco going from number 3 in NFC West to sharing part of the crown with Seattle, and the team extends their win streak over the Seahawks to 6 straight games. Titans updated injury report from yesterday. We saw Traylon Burks return to practice after being absent for the birth of his child. Keandre Coburn and Jamal Adams both remained out, but Jeffrey Simmons became a full participant after being limited earlier in the week. Colts getting a couple players back at practice as well. Offensive tackle Braden Smith, running back Trey Sermon, and quarterback Anthony Richardson all practiced in full. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Second half of the show, RKW continues on your Friday commute. Your Friday commute from the, kitchen to the living room where you do work. Maybe it's on one of the interstates that's clogged up. We're helping you get there a little bit more quickly. Passing the time for you this morning here on the program, 615-737-1045. I think there is one massive advantage the Tennessee Volunteers have over the Florida Gators, so much so that I'm not even sure this is a get-right game for Tennessee, because I don't even know if they're going to be forced to get right on offense. There is a Tennessee strength that lines up with a Florida weakness to where I think the Alabama game is going to be where you really have to see Tennessee improve on what didn't work against Arkansas. In 2 games against SEC foes, guys, the Florida Gators have given up 550 rushing yards. Not total yards.
Dang.
In games against Texas A&M and Mississippi State, Florida has allowed 550 rushing yards.
Wow.
Dylan Sampson, first to the SEC rushing yards per game at 117 per contest. Tennessee, overall for the season, still leads the SEC in rushing at 266.8 yards per game. I think Tennessee could run the ball 60 times and win this game.
And I hope they do. Whatever it is, I hope it's by a lot, is what I'm telling you. And I think Hubs came up with a great point, too, getting Nico's legs involved in this, too, because if you look at that 550, as far as Marcel Reese concerned, like, he also contributed 83 in the game that he played against him. I do believe that Nico can protect himself enough to know when to get down. I feel like Marcel Reese did the exact same thing at A&M versus Florida. Take advantage. And then guess what? If Big Boy's in, what is his name again? The D tackle. I got you. Don't worry about it real quick.
Desmond Watson?
Desmond Watson. Run his behind side to side. It was off top?
That was off top.
Top rope right there, man.
It's hard to forget the 400-pound defensive tackle.
It is. Number 21 on top
right.
of that. Run him side to side. Like, I do think personnel matching and understanding what's what, like getting him side to side is going to matter so much more, man. And taking advantage of him. Put the ball in the offensive side and take control of it defensively on the other side of it is where I'm at.
So when you guys say that in terms of they might not even have to see a ton out of their offense, and I agree, if you can be able to hurt them in the run game, why not? I mean, you're going to win a game if that's their deficiency and it's working. So at that point, though, guys, with all the questions about Tennessee's offense up to this point, you think there's still going to be some frustration, though, if you're not seeing, Nico Iamaleava be able to pass for what you expect him to pass for, even though if he's using his legs a little bit more? Do you still get maybe the pressure on Josh Heupel that he needs to still be a better play caller? So that's the thing. Do you think the fans will be satisfied if that is primarily what you get? is the run game?
I don't know if it really matters at this point. Florida is looking like they're a very competent team. Yeah, they're a competent team.
Tennessee
they can play ball.
Tennessee hasn't beaten Florida enough in a lot of our lifetimes for us to be choosy about how we do it.
Yeah, okay. No, 1-0 by
just win, baby.
Yeah,
it is, and it's at that point too to where whether Florida decides to switch up their game plan, play Nico tight. I saw in the War Room that Brent Hubs writes every Friday. Check that out on VolQuest. Like teams are doing certain stuff where they would come to the line of scrimmage then drop 6, like making Nico overthink. I don't care what they do. I just need to see the adjustments of the play calling, his decision making, and how he manages a game, Heupel, and also Nico at this point too. And again, the Tim Banks thing needs to be talked about just a little bit more. And big time games where teams have dictated the first drive of the game, that has to be corrected. It like beating Florida's script. This upcoming opening drive, is one of the more crucial things I think that needs to happen for this Vols team. And the defense has been really good.
And even if you hold the opponent to 3 the way Tennessee did on Saturday, that 8-minute drive still, it felt like forced Tennessee to come out a little tight on offense. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Especially at home, a drive like that can take the crowd out of the game a little bit.
Yeah. And you want that place rocking. You want Florida to feel.
Yeah.
Like I've been in moments where I was, hey, it's going to be a long one today. That's what you need the Florida team saying over there. And again, I know what happened this past week. First play, like Hubs said, 15 yards, but you had a legal man downfield, right? Like there are things that the Vols could have did better and against Arkansas. That could have helped them get ahead of the chance. That 15-yard pass was a strike you needed on the match, man. It's like, all right, now we're ready to go. And then it gets deflated. Like Florida needs to feel that this weekend. I'm not asking the defense to hit the move call where the defense is shifting and they're jumping off sides, but you have to be able to get an advantage on Florida to where they feel like the stadium. They feel that crowd. Yeah. We're going to talk big about what Neyland is and what SEC play is, and especially night games. Then I got to kind of see Florida feel that all night long on the way to a 1-point win or a 100-point win. Don't matter.
Yeah, and I think despite them having a little bit of a win streak, they have 2 in a row right now. You know, they're maybe feeling a little bit more confident in themselves.
They should.
I think they hit Tennessee, though, at a really bad time. You know, Tennessee being able to say, hey, we're mad. You heard Brent Hubs say we had a really good week of practice from everything we've heard over there. Like, I think they're going to come out and want to knock some heads off.
Yeah, they have to. Again, because it sucks to lose, but losing gives you your best lessons. I'd much rather be undefeated right now. But that's what flipped Florida around. That's what got Billy Napier out here all chipper and happy in practice. Well, it's either that or his buyout. I don't know which one it is at this point.
He's unsure.
Yeah.
Q on YouTube says, watch it, Will. Don't get overconfident against Florida. You know what? It's about time that Tennessee played up to the advantage on paper it has against Florida.
Facts.
Way too many of these games over the years have been way closer than they should be based on the teams on paper that are playing on Shields-Watkins Field at Neyland Stadium. I'm tired of it. I think there is reason to be confident about Tennessee at 266.8 yards per game on the ground going up against the worst rushing defense in college football. Put their helmets in that brand new grass in Neyland Stadium and keep it there for 60 minutes. I need to see a nasty and angry Tennessee offensive line in this game because Florida cannot stop you if you just show up, strap on your helmets, and do what you are capable of doing instead of showing us on film the effort levels that you showed us against Arkansas. Tennessee is so much better than Florida. So much better. Probably 3 touchdowns better at home. But this number's gone down a little bit because the BVS starts flaring up a little bit at this point of it. And, you know, Tennessee's coming off of a game where it couldn't move the ball efficiently and explosively down the field. There needs to be a get back for this Tennessee offense, and it needs to happen fast.
Yeah, and it's like at some point, Will, you're right. You guys, it's just like we need to just beat them because last year we came in with the same kind of situation where, I'm sorry, Tennessee was the better team last year. Maybe not to this extreme when you compare them, but you guys expected to kind of go down there and do that.
Absolutely.
And it didn't happen. And yes, it was in the swamp. But regardless, at some point, it's just got to happen. Like, let's buck that trend.
Yeah, and for the folks that, have that conversation like you're too confident, like, well, I mean, what has been a fan about? Is that side or just explaining the game
But
exactly as it is?
Like the confidence I have isn't even from the fans' perspective. It's that Tennessee has a major advantage in the ground game.
I'm with you on that, but it's like, does anybody want you to be timid when you look at the numbers of it? That's my point of it. It's like, as somebody that watched this team and understand what this team is and expecting a bounce back, I feel the exact same way. I think they should beat them by 16 or more. Is the way I look at this game. So again, I'm not in the spot to say, all right, Nico's the best ever. We got to see him be that. But I trust that stadium, that team to surround him at a point the way I've seen other good teams surround young quarterbacks too. That's what you're asking for. You're asking for if that run game, Will, to your point, is as good as we think it is, and it is. And I expect whatever Arkansas threw at them and whatever Oklahoma threw at them, there should be an adjustment this week to allow that offense to run the ball the way you need to, which also opens up the passing game.
I'll be happy with any level of win. I'll be happy if they win 3-2 the way Auburn, Mississippi State was back in the day. But Tennessee can cure a lot of the BVS and a lot of the pain from last week by going out there and just absolutely crushing a bad Florida team.
What is unacceptable, though, is for those guys that talk about, hey, yeah, we were a little bit lackadaisical and we don't see the correction. If we don't see that from play 1 to play 85, then we got a problem then.
Yeah.
Tennessee looking for their first 2-year streak of back-to-back home wins over Florida since 1990 and 1992.
I'll take
That'd be huge.
Since Mose Phillips in the downpour.
I wanted the one last year bad, though.
You what?
I wanted the one last year bad.
Of course.
Because, especially
And then
Florida.
it just jumped on you quick. Again, they did what Arkansas did. They jumped on them quick, and there was no way out of that corner.
As Slay says, we don't like him.
Yeah.
No.
Of course you will. I mean, yeah. 100%. Coming up, voice of the Titans, Mike Keith. We'll talk Titans and Colts with him next.
One thing that really makes Genesis Diamonds stand out from other jewelry stores, it's the education you get, all right? These are not just clerks behind the counter. These are seasoned pros. They know everything there is to know about diamonds, and they will take the time to teach you in a way that is transparent, informative, useful. They'll even teach you how to buy like a dealer buys. They will show you the inside secrets of the diamond industry. They will also show you how diamonds are priced and graded on the world market and how you can maximize your budget. It will also teach you all about lab-grown diamonds and how you have to be very, very careful with where and how you buy these. All this is done in a relaxed, no pressure, no expectation kind of atmosphere. They know most guys don't know much about diamonds, so they're committed to teaching you, not just selling you. Then, when you're ready, Genesis will give you access to one of the largest selection of GIA-certified diamonds in America. They will let you see 10 to 20 diamonds in your price range side by side so you can make an intelligent decision. I'm telling you, if you're diamond shopping, this is the place to go. It's a no-brainer. The education you want, the selection you need, the price you deserve. Zero risk and zero pressure. Genesis Diamonds voted best jewelry store and the best place to buy an engagement ring 10 years in a row. They're located in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Ramon, Kayla, and Will continues at hour 3 this morning on 104.5 The Zone with the whole crew in studio. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, joined by voice of the Titans, Mike Keith. Every time the Sopranos music plays here, we catch up with the VOD. Mike, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Just remember this. There's a lesson to be learned in life from every Sopranos episode. I think that's really important. When you discuss what is the greatest TV series in American history.
I wish you were lying, but you're not, Mike. You're not. It's one of those ones where you just go back and watch and say, yes, I can apply that. Yeah, you're one of the greatest ever.
Look, if Uncle Junior had been honest here, it would have worked out better for he and his friends. You know, I mean, all these things are vastly important.
I would watch a crossover of Andy Griffith with Tony Soprano. I think that'd be a fun little mashup there.
Yeah, it would. It'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Well,
Andy wouldn't make it long.
No, he wouldn't.
Andy wouldn't make it long. Well, we'll have to make sure we tell Brent from Knoxville all about that, Dan, if you're okay with that.
I don't know him, but okay.
I'm sharing that out. Mike, first of all, how was your bye week, man? I saw some of your images. You had a nice recap. How was it for you, Mike?
It was good. It was very good. It was intentional from the standpoint that we're rolling for 13 straight weeks now. And so experience teaches you put it down for a minute. Don't take the computer with you and let it go for just a minute. And, I think that was what the attitude was of the football staff and everybody associated, is that you've got to put it down for a minute because this grind is quite different. And listen, I have a great job. I'm not complaining about my job. I'm just saying you're going to be so in it for 3 straight months and hopefully longer that you understand that this is different with the early bye. For anybody who works with what we do, whether football or non-football, it's going to be a grind. And so you got to pace yourself a little bit.
Voice the Titans, Mike Keith, our guest. Mike, I've never heard a coach go into a bye week and say, oh, this kind of comes at a terrible time for us. It's kind of like every college coach in the summer, right? That every team's their healthiest, the fastest, the strongest they've been. But it really does feel like the bye week came at a good time for this Titans team going into division play for the first time, where you've got a real opportunity here, as you know, to not only help yourself get back in the chase at an AFC where nobody's really emerged other than a couple of teams, and really put a dent in Indy's chances as well. Just how unique is this occasion? How significant of an early challenge is this as you take a look at the stakes for both teams going into this game? It's
significant for both. Indianapolis, if they lose this game, they're 0-3 in the division. If we win this game, we're 2-3. We've won 2 in a row. We've won a division game, 3 months earlier than we won one last year. And, who knows? You're you're in second place in the division at this point, and you're kind of back in the race. So, yeah, I mean, it's very significant. I think the bye for this team is significant, and I understand what you're saying, Will, and I agree with you 100%. Everybody's always going to spin it to the positive, Nobody ever has a bad off season. Right. Nobody ever has a bad we were wonderful. The bye always comes at a great time. But for this, Brian Callahan's first team, I think it does come at a good time because you're 2.5 months into the process that began on July the 23rd. You catch your breath a little bit. You're coming off the win. All of those sorts of things factor in. And going into this game where you're playing a team who has a litany of injuries that well because it's what you've gone through the last 2 years. It's exactly what you've been through, and nobody sent you a sympathy card, and so you're not going to be sending one out. If you've got an opportunity to take advantage of that right now because you are the healthier squad, so be it.
Mike, when you look at this weekend also, just all of the AFC, we've been discussing it here all week long. It is as muddied as I've ever seen it. We got some really good teams. We got some teams that are supposed to be really good with franchise quarterbacks like Cincinnati, 1-4. Cleveland with a franchise quarterback, 1-4. You look on the AFC East side, you got the Jets, Mike, that are in. Oh, they just fired their coach. What I'm saying is this team may be 1-3, but the outlook on the rest of the AFC side of things, this is an opportunity. If they get good play from the quarterback, they reestablish the run and continue to get wins, it's not far-fetched that they can make a playoff run here, Mike.
Sure. I mean, you have 14 teams in the AFC who have 2 or more losses. So, I mean, the only 2 who don't are Houston and Kansas City. And you're going to get a chance to play Houston twice later in the year. So, yeah, if you can pull yourself together and string together a few wins and put yourself in a position that you're saying, okay, here we go. I mean, I think if you're a Titans fan, you look at it over the next 4 and you say, could we get 3 of them and be 4-4 after New England? Maybe. And if you do, then it's really interesting. But, it starts with the division game. I don't mean to be everybody's dad giving you the traveled uphill to school 6 miles each way, but I think we all get it. I mean, this is a pivotal one. If this team does turn things around and give themselves a chance to be in a playoff picture at year's end, I think we'll look back at this one as that moment where, some things turned in the right direction, because if you're going to make those runs, these are the types of games you have to win. Home game, division game, momentum game where you're healthier than the other team. I mean, these are opportunities.
It is, Mike, and you've had conversation with head coach Brian Callahan since the Miami win. What has been his mindset as far as offensively, understanding how to get a win and scoring over 30 points for however many days it was at that time, Mike? How's it shifted for him now?
Well, he's glad that's no longer a factor, because he, as an offensive guy, he didn't like hearing about that. But the amazing thing is the Titans scored 31 points in a game where they gained, 244 yards? So it wasn't like, I mean, this was the 600-yard breakout game. They did what they had to do to win a game. And I think that's what he's more pleased with right now, Ramon, is that he went in with his coaching staff. They devised a plan. They sold it to the team. The team went out and executed it, and they got a win. And so now how do they do that again as they continue to develop things and expand what they want their system to be? But, I don't necessarily think it's going to be about reinventing the wheel anytime soon for them. I think they're going to focus on what they feel like they can do well now, because what we saw in the first 3 games, Ramon, is they had nothing they could hang their hat on.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Nothing. And so they said, when you're getting out of a slump, you got to have one thing to hang your hat on. So what is that going to be? And what they went with was physical. And, when Brian got the job, he said of the Mike Vrabel years, he said, they know physical here. We're not going to have to teach physical. That goes back to, Mike Mularkey even. I mean, physical has been a thing here for a while. So they leaned back into that sort of mindset with a different group of guys, sold it well, and the players executed it. And I think that's what this week will be about. I don't know if it'll be about physical, but it'll be about leaning into something specific to help them win the game, whatever that may be.
Voice of the Tennessee Titans, Mike Keith, joining us this morning, as he does every Friday on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Mike, one thing that they have done really consistently well is run the football. And when you're facing a Colts defense that's having difficulty stopping the run, how much do they need to take advantage of this, and how much does the offensive line come into play in this situation?
The offensive line is huge. I mean, they've got to play better than they did against Miami. And they've got to continue to take steps. And the running game, the key in all of that, Kayla, is they ran it 40 times.
Yeah.
But they didn't run for 400 yards. They ran for 142. So 3.5 yards a pop. that's got to be better. Now what they did is they didn't make big mistakes. What they did is they controlled the game. What they did is they stayed with it. And again, there were people who considered that boring. I thought it was beautiful. I just thought, it was, that's football, man. They just lined up against a Miami team that didn't really like that. They don't like to play that kind of game. And so they just went and hit them and kept doing it and won 31-12. And at the end, everybody's trumpeting the 30 points because they didn't watch the whole 60 minutes for what got you there, And that's, the Colts have had some difficulty with the run because they've been behind and people have been able to stick with the run. And the stat that sticks out the most about the Colts is they're losing time of possession through their first 5 games by nearly 10 minutes per game, which means people are doing to them what the Titans did to Miami, and that's running it and sticking with it. Because in most cases, because they're behind. And so, that's where you want to get. You want to get ahead. The Titans got ahead in that game in Miami. They could stick with it. And if that's what they're able to do on Sunday, it fits what the Titans did in their last game, and it fits what has been done effectively to the Colts. But what is the Colts know that, and they're going to do everything they can to possibly stop that.
Yep.
Everything.
Absolutely, Mike. Mike, when it comes to preparing for a quarterback, yet another week where they're kind of preparing for 2 and hoping, they see the one they think they're going to see. But it looks like it's going to be Anthony Richardson on Sunday. With saying that, exactly what does he bring to the table that can cause some problems for this defense? Or do you look at it as this defense can maybe start to capitalize on some of those turnovers at this point?
Well, he has made mistakes, Kayla. But the physical gifts in him, and we had Ron Rivera on the Brian Callahan show Monday night here on 104.5 The Zone, and Amy Wells asked him flat out, is Cam Newton the comp for Anthony Richardson? And the guy who coached him in Carolina said yes. Wow. And it's that size, it's that power, it's that overall speed. Now, the difference was Cam Newton very quickly figured out how to protect himself. And Richardson has not been able to figure out how to do that yet. But Richardson on design runs is incredibly dangerous, short yardage, red zones, things of that sort. They do a good job with him throwing deep downfield in off-schedule situations. This is a team with 13 completions of 25 yards or more. His completion percentage is not fabulous. He's at 51%. But he's hit some deep balls, and they have hit some deep balls. And so there's a lot you have to worry about because you're thinking, we've got him all bottled up, and he's running around. And suddenly one of the defensive backs peaks or starts to come up, and then he throws it over your head in an off-schedule situation to a guy like Alec Pierce, who's averaging 28 yards a catch. So, he's a mess. It's a mess to deal with because of all the things that he can do physically. If you think about Lamar Jackson's athleticism, then add 2 inches and 30 pounds and as much speed, and that's Anthony Richardson. So that's what you're dealing with. And as a defense, you're sitting here going, okay, there are things we can do, but man, there sure are things he can do to us. Oh, my goodness.
Mike Keith, voice of the Titans, with us this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Mike, the Titans drafted about 700 pounds of linemen in the first 2 picks of the NFL draft this past spring, and both of those guys have hit the ground running. And maybe T'Vondre Sweat in a way that we would be talking more about if it wasn't for some of the quarterback discussions and the changes that happened there with that offense in Miami. How rare is it from draft classes you've seen, from just top 2 picks that you've made from the Titans' perspective, to have 2 guys playing at the level those 2 are so quickly in their NFL careers?
It's incredibly rare. Incredibly rare. And both improving. I think it says a lot about the scouting staff, the personnel staff, Rand Carthon, and then the part of the organization that most people don't really know about, nor should they necessarily because it's not really publicized, but how things have been laid out for both of these players off the field. And, what the expectations are, how they communicate to them about what this job is all about. I think their play has been impressive. More impressive to me, considering that one's 21, Latham's 21, and I think Sweat may be 22. He could be 23 already, but they're young guys. The professionalism that they have shown already is off the charts, and all of that has translated into what you've seen from those two players for the first 4 games. Now, if you get off the train, if you think you've made it and it's okay, it can go the wrong way in a hurry. This is not forever. You've got to keep doing this job. But the early returns are absolutely fantastic. And I think the plan for handling those players, and they're different. They're different people, just like different people are handled different ways. That has been a great thing to make them comfortable, to give them a blueprint. They've both been very coachable on and off the field, and it's impressive. They deserve the personnel staff, the scouting staff, Rand Carthon, and the coaching staff, obviously, too. They've done a whale of a job with these players.
Mike, when you look at that, too, you said it can go one of, the other way as it pertains to your career. Right now, Coach Brian Callahan has said this week, there's a little bit of a competition between Leroy Watson and Nicholas Petit-Frere. I'll have my eye on that this weekend and seeing how he plays if NPF gets to start, Mike. But what does that signify for a guy like NPF who's had his struggles a little bit this year?
Better make it happen now. That's what it. They bring a guy up from the practice squad that they traded for, who played with your offensive line coach in Cleveland. Is a former college tight end who, has been developed in this league over the last 2 years before coming to the Titans. So he is an athletic player, much like Nick is an athletic player. Again, it goes back to the fact this is a job and this is a business. Mm-hmm. And you've been given an opportunity to show what you can do, and now they brought a guy up from the practice squad to compete with you. And so that's not a really good sign for NPF at this point, and it means that you've got to step up your game. And that's where this organization is right now, is there has to be competition at every point, because all of this thing, as it sits right now, is new. Chad Brinker's new in his job. Rand Carthon has different responsibilities in his job. The head coach is new with coaching staff. A lot of this team is new. The Titans started over to a great extent in 2024. And so these are the moments where they're setting the level of expectation for every man on the roster, including the guys on the practice squad right now who might have had a little more pep in their step at practice yesterday, saying, hey, that could be me next. We're not undefeated. We're not the 66 Packers. The 72 Dolphins, whatever. Whatever great team you want to throw out, we're not them. We've got to get there. And we are going to get there, in our opinion, or have a chance to get there, by being held to a level of expectation at all times where you better look over your shoulder. You better know somebody's coming. You better not feel secure. That's just how I feel like it has to be.
Yeah.
Voice of the Titans, Mike Keith, our guest this morning on Ramon, Kayla, and Will. Mike, always a joy catching up with you. Thank you for the time, as always.
Thank you, guys.
Mike,
have a great weekend.
That last little part right there, Mike, will make you run through a wall, man. I was just like, all right, Mike, I guess you're ready to go for this weekend, man. Goodness.
Well, Ramon, it's how you got your job in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's how you kept your job in Pittsburgh.
It is. You're 100% correct. And that's why I was just like, I know it's on the front street for everybody to see MPF go through this, but you can't just let a guy be at the line or below the line. And I absolutely love that. But what it also tells me, too, is, Mike, there's still a good bit of development and drafting and picking the right guys for this team to be it. And I'm okay with that.
Yes.
I like
100%.
it. Good stuff. Thank you, Mike.
Thanks,
Good talk
Mike.
to
See you Sunday, Mike.
See you Sunday.
There he is. Voice the Titans, Mike Keith. Bringing it. Got Ramon ready to run through walls over here.
Because opportunity.
Yeah.
Opportunity.
That's
Will.
what's beautiful about the league, too, is like you said, everybody has a chance.
Good.
Take advantage. There you go. Coming up, there is something that only 3 teams have done in college football this year. Tennessee was one of them until last week. Play a little bit of college football trivia coming up next.
It's Ramon Foster for Two Rivers Ford. Let's talk about trucks for a little bit, all right? Because if you've been thinking about buying a truck for yourself or your business, now is the time to do it at Two Rivers Ford. Two Rivers Ford is Ford Truck Central. They have one of the largest inventories of trucks in the Southeast. And if you own if you own a business and you're looking for a Ford Super Duty, guess what? Call the Ford Pro Commercial Vehicle Division at Two Rivers Ford right now. Because right now, financing on any Super Duty XL or XLT is 1.9% for 36 months and 2.9% for 48 months. These rates are the lowest they've been in years, and they're flying off the lot. So if you're interested in a Super Duty, go ahead and give the Commercial Vehicle Center a call. And if you're in the market for F-150, Two Rivers Ford sells every F-150 outside of the Raptor trim well below MSRP. A lot of people are actually surprised at how low and transparent the truck prices are at Two Rivers Ford. And when you do business with Two Rivers Ford, you're doing business with a locally owned dealership that's been right here in Middle Tennessee for over 4 decades. And that does mean something. So Super Duties, F-150, Lightnings, Rangers, Mavericks, Two Rivers Ford is Ford Truck Central.
I love living in Middle Tennessee. We've got great restaurants, entertainment, sports, and one of the nation's top Ford dealers right here in our backyard. Two Rivers Ford. Remember that name. Two Rivers has been a staple in our community since 1983. They're locally owned. They have a non-commissioned sales team, and they sell below MSRP. They've been doing business with integrity for decades. Two Rivers Ford, the South's most trusted Ford dealer.
Just didn't sound.
Got a little bit of college football trivia for you to wrap up hour 3 of Ramon, Kayla, and Will, RKW. Give you our Tennessee, Florida, and Titans Colts picks coming up in just about 10 minutes. Aditi King Kabala of CBS Sports scheduled to join us in a half hour. Cole Kublik with this stat this morning. There are 3 teams in college football who have not trailed at any point this season. Tennessee was one of them. Until the weekend.
Arkansas.
Unfortunately. One of these is easy. One of them is moderately difficult. The other one is very difficult. 3 teams that have not trailed at any point this season. Hit me.
Texas.
Texas is one of them.
Ohio State.
Ohio State is not one of them.
Yeah.
I think I saw this. Or is it Indiana?
Indiana is the second one.
That's weird.
That was the moderately hard one.
Hey, and this one's really hard, you said?
There is one way off the beaten path.
Boise.
No.
Boise
has a loss. They lost to Oregon.
They did lose?
Yeah, it was a good game, but they lost.
45-42, I believe.
Way off the beaten path?
Yep.
Dang.
Ain't Vandy. Not them this time.
They have 2 losses.
Pitt.
Not Pitt. I don't think they're undefeated either.
They are. I think they're 5-0.
Are they?
Yeah.
Are they? Okay.
Way off the beaten path. Miami.
No.
Because of the Cal
Miami
game.
trailed most of the second half against Cal while you were probably asleep. But that was probably smart of you to be asleep.
Can you give us just like the conference?
That would give it away.
That would give it away now.
Yep. Saying it's way off the beaten path is a big hint.
Shoot.
It ain't App State there. Not Marshall.
Nope.
Not West Virginia.
Nope.
Not.
Is it BYU?
Nope.
That was a good one, too.
I don't know any more undefeated. Iowa State.
Nope.
Dadgummit.
One of the MAC schools. Buffalo?
Not MAC school.
Not a MAC school. I ain't got a clue
Army?
at this point.
There you go.
Yes.
Army.
Oh my
I knew we would get there.
Army has not trailed all season. Army, Texas, and
I should
Indiana.
have known that. I should have known. You
It's just
wanna
the
know
American thing. It's the American answer.
Alejandro reminds me of it.
Because if I told you,
God.
they're independent, then you would have immediately gotten it.
Exactly.
Yes, Army. Yeah.
Good
Having
for
a
them.
good
Although
one.
they are in
man.
the American now.
Still aren't ranked either, if I'm not mistaken.
So have you guys seen the thing that we're cascading towards that could be an inevitable
Yes.
situation
Yeah.
between Army and Navy where they could play each other in the Army-Navy game, one of them lose, and then they play the next week in the American Conference Championship. So what if they're both undefeated going into those 2 weeks? They both get a loss. They both have one loss. What do you do in the playoffs?
Ooh. That's weird.
Wow, Bert. Way to present that.
I didn't come up with it.
I mean, but
don't wow me.
I may take credit. Why
just
not?
taking
Copy and
advantage
pasting
for it.
somebody else's work.
You should have taken advantage of that one, Bert. I was holding your praises high at that point right there, my brother.
That's why we love college football.
Army,
Get into
yeah.
these situations.
Well, we'll see if what we say. What was the 3 teams? Ohio State, Texas.
No, Texas.
Texas, Indiana, and
Indiana,
Army.
yeah.
3
Texas,
teams who have not
Indiana,
trailed
Army.
this season.
Very different teams at that.
We'll see what Oklahoma can do this weekend against Texas. Yes.
I'm from Texas.
Coming up in 8 days, you'll get to see the East Carolina Pirates take on Army, and hopefully they get to kick a field goal in the first quarter before Army ever touches the ball, so they can ruin the stat for them.
You need to bet on that.
Are
game.
you high on your team still, Bert? Or
Nah,
you done?
I think.
You done.
There's been a lot of drama behind the scenes to spare you on Greenville, USA drama, but a lot of former players are coming out and saying that they did not have the best coaching conditions about Mike Houston. So we will have to see where that goes.
Now I want to know what this is about. I'll have to ask you after the show.
Tough, Bert.
It's tough.
I hate that for you, man. Seriously, I know you.
So they were in the bowels
Pirates.
of the ship.
Yeah, they're currently all walking the plank, as I understand
They
it.
took my joke away. That's all I had. That's all I had.
You're going to pirate that one away from Bert.
You've been marooned.
LimeWire that thing.
Coming up,
Nothing?
our Tennessee, Florida picks, our Titans, Colts picks. You know what the first rule of comedy is, Ramon?
Be funny?
Be funny. Coming up,
Ah,
hour 4 of the
dang.
show after this.
It's Ramon Foster for Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Letting you know, man, it is spooky season and everyone's thinking about Halloween. This month is all treats and no tricks with my friends at Hiller. During their Spooky Good Fall giveaway, they are giving away a free Blackstone griddle, Solo stove, or Yeti Tundra cooler with select home upgrades. I'm telling you, it's worth it. Go ahead and reach out to my folks or just simply enjoy the $99 specials like an HVAC tune-up. For more details, visit happyhiller.com.
What's going on? Good morning. Happy Friday. From the 104.5 The Zone Studios, I am Robert Walsh. The San Francisco 49ers made their third trip to Lumen Field in as many seasons for a Thursday night football game showdown against the Seattle Seahawks. 49ers with the victory 36-24 over their divisional rivals to the north. San Francisco has gone from number 3 in their division to sharing a part of the crown with Seattle, and the team extends their win streak over the Seahawks to 6 straight games. Titans updated injury report saw Traylon Burks return to practice after being absent for the birth of his child. Keandre Coburn and Jamal Adams remaining out, but Jeffrey Simmons became a full participant after being limited earlier in the week. Colts getting a couple players back at practice as well. Offensive tackle Braden Smith, running back Trey Sermon, and quarterback Anthony Richardson all practiced in full. For all your foundation repair and your waterproofing needs, you got to go to USSTN.com. Breaking news at once on your home for the Titans and the Vols. This is 104.5 The Zone.
Fourth and final hour of the show at 9 a.m. in beautiful Music City, USA on a fall football Friday. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bolding. Robert Walsh is our producer. The number is 615-737-1045. We got picks and predictions to do. Brent Hubs and Mike Keith have made us smarter about Tennessee, Florida, and as well Titans and Colts. Aditi King Kabala will be on the sidelines for CBS on Sunday. She'll join us coming up in 20 minutes. But, guys, it is time to make our picks. Dealer's choice. We going to Knoxville or Nissan Stadium first?
Let's go to Knoxville.
All right, let's do Tennessee,
Saturday,
Florida.
anyway.
Prediction time. I need a score and I need a winner.
Vols. Dub. 42-17.
Oh, I like the pregnant pause. That was good.
42-17.
You let the suspense build a little bit.
Yeah, no, I don't, that's where I'm at this week.
How do you think they get to 42?
42, airing it out, let Nico run and extend.
Okay.
Get to the tight red zone, running it with Dylan Sampson, Deshaun Bishop, or Cam Selden.
I would sign up for 42-17. I would like it.
I do think we should see Nico run the ball a little bit more with his legs. I do hope we see him being able to adjust to the coverages that they're trying to trick him. And defensively, I want to be able to see them contain Mertz. They showed you everything he had last year. You understand that the look, that the young athlete that they have in DJ Lagway? Mm-hmm. He's I get him confused with the one that said Georgia and Tech. Never mind. Either way.
Jaden Rashada,
yeah. But they got a guy. They got a defense that's been put on notice last week. Hub said it, the linebackers, middle of the field, being good. Tim Banks have to get off. He, more than I feel like Heupel this week, has to set the tone.
I'm doing a gator chomp in somebody's face if Tennessee beats Florida 42-17. You can't hold me accountable for my actions if that is actually the score of this game.
I really don't blame you in those moments right there. I don't.
I did that my sophomore year when Tennessee broke the streak and beat Florida. The student section, when you leave the stadium, you leave through like the Florida, like the visitor area. And there's probably a player family over there. I was gator chomping at so many people.
Sure.
My teammates were like, if you get in a fight, we're not going to save you. And I was like, don't save me. I don't want to be saved. Don't save me. I don't want to be saved.
At least you would go down with the gator chomp, at the other.
At that point, I was in elementary school the last time Tennessee had beaten Florida at that point in my life. So I was going to gator chomp at whomever I wanted to.
Either that or a loose tooth. One or the other is going to happen.
That's right.
Sure.
Kayla, what you got? Tennessee, Florida.
So I have got Tennessee is mad, and they are ready to protect their home field. They're back there. It's a fresh new green grass. It's a new beginning there to take over Florida. So I think, with what Brent Hubs said, too, about maybe letting, Nico move him around a little bit, roll him out, and then you've got the run game is going to be able to do its job, and Dylan Sampson leading the way. I think the defense will do its part. Give me 42-10.
42-10.
All right.
Tennessee.
Man, 32-point win. I like it.
You want to know what I think?
What do you think?
No, 42. 3.
They're just going to keep going lower and lower, huh?
42-3.
I think they'll score over 40, though. For sure.
They have to this week. And Heupel is a prideful guy, I feel like, in a sense, and understand his offense has been publicly challenged. I don't want him to go ape crap. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to go just like overthinking it. I tried to be as clear as I possibly could about it. Is that all right with y'all? Was that good?
That's good.
Because
it could have been a lot worse.
It could have been a lot worse. Or ape
Shiano.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Keeping it clean.
Ape crap. He could go. I don't want him to overcorrect. I just want him to be what we think this offense and what these players are.
I just think they're mad, man. I do. I think they're mad.
Give me Tennessee 38, Florida 17. I think the only reason why the total is not bigger for the Vols is because both teams will want to run the football so much that the game is shortened a little bit. And I think Tennessee's ability to run it successfully will make this game a lot faster. It will be, again, not the ultimate test of Tennessee's explosive passing game and Nico getting right. However, I do think that it is a big confidence boost for Nico to manage an offense that's going to be able to run however much they want to.
Yeah.
Florida cannot stop the run through a couple of SEC games, allowing over 500 yards rushing in those 2 games so far. So give me Tennessee by 3 touchdowns, 38-17.
Okay.
Tomorrow night in Neyland Stadium. I'm excited to have a Florida night game, man. These are rare. These are rare. And the 3:30 CBS game has been a Tennessee-Florida special every September. Obviously, this is October now, and it's going to be at night. It's going to be a little bit of a different environment, and I think that stadium is going to be electric.
I will say the last time I was in that stadium when they played Florida, Vols won, but that shootout that Anthony Richardson and Hendon Hooker had
was good.
Probably one of the best live displays of like competition I had seen. No,
it's also a 15-yard penalty for using shootout. Not allowed to use that term or language anymore, Ramon. Offense is going to get backed up.
Hold on.
Thank you.
But
resume play.
Well, I guess I should do like the young cats on TV now, you know, and the NFL.
You can't do that celebration anymore, right?
I might as well do that too then. I mean, I can't say chopper either then, huh? All right. Well, all right.
That is another 15-yard penalty.
All right, well, I keep on stacking them. At this point, suspend me, okay? My young hitters out there on the ball.
Since Ramon's been penalized, I'll take the Titans-Colts prediction first. Titans are beating the Colts on Sunday.
Yeah.
The Colts are the walking wounded. And if they walk in here with Anthony Richardson at quarterback, it gives the Titans a better chance to win, in my opinion, than if it was Joe Flacco. If the Colts had a full array of weapons of Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman and DeForest Buckner and a healthy Josh Downs, I think this would be a different kind of game. But Titans are really, really in a big spot here. And I think they manage the moment well enough to, again, expose the Colts. It's so similar to Tennessee, Florida.
I was just going to say that, Will.
They can't stop the run.
Yeah.
And I think in this stadium, unless Will Levis gives the ball away in a hurtful way, Titans will be able to run well enough to beat the Colts. Give me, let's see. I should have thought of the score before I said it. Give me 26-17. Yeah. 26-17, Titans over Colts.
It's similar to Tennessee in some ways, too, just with also, you know what Tennessee's defense is. You kind of know what Titans' defense is. There's just the questions more on can that offense get going outside the run game even. So it is interesting, but I'll go with the Titans 27-21 over the Colts. It is a pivotal game in my mind. I think it's a game where you can start to stack, build some confidence in this team that's a little bit new overall. And I just feel like you have a more guaranteed to get the run game going against this defense than they do on the opposite side, where Jonathan Taylor might be good, but he looks like he might not even play. And I think that if you do see AR, Anthony Richardson, he's going to make mistakes, but they just don't have enough to support that offense, where I think the Titans just have a little bit more knowing that run defense is run game is going to be able to get going.
I got the Titans. I don't think it's going to be that high of a score. I got them 20-13. I think the run game, if that's your mindset, running the ball is going to eat the clock. The Colts defense, I think, will have an adjustment. I see this team being able to get to the red zone, probably have to kick a field goal or two, and at some point probably take the deep shot to one of the wide receivers as far as this team is concerned. And I feel like the Colts will be good enough moving Anthony Richardson around to where he can make plays to get them in scoring position.
If he can make it through the game, yeah.
If he can make it, yeah. Well, the same
I'm joking,
goes for
but kind of not joking.
Same goes for Levis,
and it does.
too.
And that's why this game could get weird, because then we could be back to the same conversation for both fan bases in terms of going to their backups in this game. We hope that doesn't happen, but it could.
2013 Titans.
It just feels like as big of a game as you're going to find this early in an NFL season.
Mm-hmm.
In week 6, they don't get much more important than in soccer. We'd call this a 6-pointer.
A 6-point.
This is a 6-point match.
What does that mean?
Either you get 3 points or you lose 3 points to the rival that's right behind you, who could then gain 3 points. There's a 6-point swing happening in the AFC South table, not standings. We're going soccer. 6-pointer.
There you go.
Yeah.
In the South.
No.
Many of you are shaking your fists at your radios right now.
That makes sense, though.
I have no idea what's going on right now.
Clip
At
that.
least you admit it.
Clip that. 9-10.
No, straight up. It should be and the reason I'm keeping it low is because there's a lot of questions on both sides. Like, all right, I love the idea that this team put up 31 last week, but you also still have to be very careful with the ball. Considering one of Will Levis's last plays of the last game in Miami was a pick to a defensive lineman, I get it. It happens, whatever, right? But he's also had that trend. That's why I think being careful with him, but also being direct is where he needs to be this weekend. Like, give him the screen game. Throw it to the tight ends. Find Tyler Boyd. That's the game plan for me, along with running the ball on the ground.
I'm going to throw something out here, and Ron Slay is in the F&M Bank chat. I think, and I'm not just saying this, there's a real thing called new dad energy. Traylon Burks just had a baby girl. By the way, congratulations, 9 pounds. Whew. I asked him about that yesterday. He kind of laughed, but he did say, I do feel a little different today. But I'm just saying, new dad energy, Traylon Burks, maybe coming into his own. Ron, I'm giving you some fuel here, so.
He better not be acting like he delivered the baby, okay? Like, weight off of him. Like,
because his wife was only 4 pounds when she was born. He was only 7 pounds. He goes, I don't know where this came from.
Jeez. I mean, that's good health right there.
I was 8, and then I ended up being a stick
really?
figure for most of my life. So
That's wild.
It's like 7 pounds, like 13 ounces.
7 pounds, 11 ounces here. Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Big old baby.
I couldn't tell you. I was somewhere around 8. My
That is
parents would know way
bigger,
better than me.
Yeah, it is. A 9-pound baby girl?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was a hefty baby. I was like 8 pounds, 8 ounces.
Lord.
Dang.
Without a diaper on.
Big baby bird.
I was a big baby, man. That's why my mom only had one. That was enough.
You scarred her, and look at you, man.
She was like, not again. I ain't, God, about cussed again. I ain't pooping another one of them cannonballs out.
Crapping.
Crapping. 15-yard penalty. Take me back.
Transition away from that. Coming up, Aditi King Kabala, CBS, will join us next.
It's Ramon and Kayla here for Window Nation, y'all. Kayla, first and foremost, October's the best time to buy new windows, okay? In case they got to remove the windows from your house, you ain't got to worry about it being super cold or super hot. It's the perfect time to hit them up and come over to your house. Also, if you buy 2 windows, you'll get 2 free plus pay nothing with no interest for 2 full years.
Yeah, they are the window experts, Ramon. We know that. Now you can know that as we're sharing with you. You go into that winter time and you want to keep the heat in. This is the way to do it. Make sure you're getting good windows from Window Nations. They've installed over 200,000 windows last year alone. 96% of them, no follow-up service. They're going to get in there. They're going to do it right the first time. So they are trusted by over 200,000 homeowners. If you want to be one of them, give our friends at Window Nation a call. They've got a deal going on for you right now. Buy 2 windows, get 2 free, plus no down payment, no interest, no payments for 24 months. All you got to do, call them 866-90Nation or look them up at windownation.com.
RKW continues here in hour number 4 this morning on 104.5 The Zone. Ramon Foster, Kayla Anderson, Will Bowling, and we always enjoy visiting with our good friend Aditi King Kabala on the sidelines for CBS during the NFL season. She will have all of the reports you need for Titans and Colts this Sunday at Nissan Stadium. Aditi, it's been a while. What's up? How are you?
Hi, my friends. I have to tell you, that introduction just puts a smile on my face.
Good.
Right?
I love talking to you guys, too. It's been way too long.
It has.
I know. Hopefully you're doing well.
Aditi. You've been everywhere, though, so there's that.
Seattle, Denver, Vegas, Jacksonville. Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
That's the glorious, the glamorous side of sideline reporting, right? No direct flights, lots of Monday red eyes. Coming home to a house that's a mess.
Wow, I would say something. I had a smart comeback to you until you said come home to a house that's a mess, because I understand that's your kids making it a mess, and I can't.
No, Ramon. Actually, that's my kid's daddy making it a mess. In fact, Nico said to his father, I was leaving yesterday, my son gave me a big hug, and he said, Mommy, I'm already starting to miss you. The house is just so much more organized when you're home.
Not a kid.
And seriously, I look at my husband, and Nico says to his dad, he goes, Dad, can you do a better job this weekend? I love it.
You raised him right, Aditi.
I'm doing whatever I can. I tell my son all the time, I don't want your wife talking about me the way I talk about your grandma.
There it is. There it is, right there. At least you're setting it up early in life. I love it.
Trying. I mean, you're doing the same with your boys, right, Ramon?
I am. We're making it happen, man. I play my part in keeping my never mind. I can't be that violent with them on this network. But yes, I'm doing my part, Aditi, is what we get going on.
Just about instilling good habits as soon as you can. I mean, just like on a football field, instilling good habits. That's what life is about.
Well,
yes.
I'm sure you got a couple storylines about habits and quarterbacks this weekend, Aditi.
Oh, I was hoping to see our old friend Mason. Can I be honest and say that?
Not on these airways, because I blocked for him and I'm going to get blamed. Ramon just wanted to see his former teammate play. No, not yet, Aditi. You got to warm up this crowd first, okay?
All right, before I go there. But there is a reason. Just Kayla, Will, just so you know, I covered the AFC North forever.
Yeah.
A few weeks ago, I saw Andy Dalton come in and lead his team to victory. Then I saw Joe Flacco come in and lead his team to victory, and it makes me feel like I'm 10 years younger. It takes me back in time.
Hey, I love that, Aditi, right?
I love
that was it. But anyway, okay, so Will Levis, he's healthy. We're excited to see him, right?
Yeah. We are. And Aditi, it is interesting, the similarities between these two teams, because they both have quarterbacks that might be able to come in, and you could at least make the argument, right, that they may have a cleaner operation and give you maybe a higher floor, but maybe a lower ceiling. I don't know if that's maybe fair of Flacco, but is that kind of where you look at this matchup and see the most interesting storylines going in, just the way that the quarterback situations are a little similar between these two teams?
Well, in that I think that you have two head coaches who are adamant, and I can. We've had the Colts the last 2 weeks, so I can speak better on this right now. I haven't gotten to meet with Brian Callahan, who I'll openly admit I love and have always enjoyed in Cincinnati. We'll meet with him later today. But Shane Steichen has been absolutely unapologetic that the way you get better at playing quarterback is by playing quarterback. There is none of this, you know what, Anthony Richardson hasn't played a lot. He needs to sit. He needs to season a little bit. He needs to watch a little. Steichen doesn't believe that at all. He thinks you get better by being out there. And the interesting thing with Anthony Richardson is that, he's only started 8 games in the National Football League. He's finished 4 of them. So clearly, this is a young man who, if you think about it, hasn't been hit a lot. When he was in high school, he was better than everybody on the field. In college, he had a small sample size and was still better than most everybody on the field. Now he's finally playing with athletes who are close to him, if not as dynamic an athlete as he is, close to him. And, the safety is closing a lot faster than a safety has ever closed. The linebacker is hitting a lot harder than a linebacker has ever hit before. And I think that there's an adjustment to that. I think that you have to learn how to take those blows, how to recognize when, like I said, the safety is coming at you. And Shane Steichen is unapologetic. He says one of the best parts of Anthony Richardson's game is the way that he can use his legs, the way that he moves. We're not going to take that out. But there is a fine line here where he does have to learn a few things, and he does have to kind of figure that out, because what's the old cliche? Your best ability is your availability.
Yes.
So, and I don't know how you get better. Like, if it's all these fits and starts, you know, you start a game, then you sit, then you start a game, then you sit, then you start, like, you're just not getting better. You have to keep consecutively stacking reps. So, obviously, he's been practicing this week. I'm eager to see him. The Colts are so bullish on who he is, not only what his potential is on the field, but the way that he works. He's a very mature young man. It's fun to watch a player like that grow. Now, as for Levis, of course, I don't know him as well, but he's also a young quarterback. And not everybody comes in and is Jaden Daniels.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody comes in and has a ready-made team where you don't really need to do much because your run game is amazing and your defense is as stout as can be and you only need to make one read. So, I don't know. I'm really curious to see. Are you guys still feeling like, okay, we're seeing improvement every single week?
No,
this is a guy that's growing?
No, because it's overshadowed by the big mistakes, unfortunately. If that makes
that's
sense.
Fair.
Yeah,
of course.
Do the Colts understand and know that too? Not saying you got to give away state secrets, but Kayla brought up that point, and Levis has had those issues. He's been in games, right, except for the Miami. So to Kayla's point, do the Colts understand that?
I will say yes. I will not share any, not that there's any bulletin board material to share, but I did have that conversation with Zaire Franklin this week about, you know, when you face a quarterback who is still trying to sort through his decision making and is prone to making some really big mistakes. And Zaire Franklin said something along the lines of it always being fun to face a young quarterback.
Yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, isn't that what football is? You're trying to exploit whatever weakness or mismatch or vulnerability that there is. And so this is a Colts defense that unfortunately did not have an outing that it feels good about last week and is coming out, you know, ready to go at it, ready to set things right again.
If that's the case, then with Zaire Franklin and this Gus Bradley defense, is it one of the main points this week for them to figure out their run game? Because I think they're ranked as far as yards given up 32nd in the NFL.
Yeah. You know, they had this brutal half against Green Bay, something that they called embarrassing, a gut check, and then they'd clean things up. But last week was bad, and I'll tell you, because I was at that game, it felt like a lot of it was tackling. Not necessarily as much about fits and being in the right spot. They just didn't tackle well. And, you know, I hate to say it, but ever since, I'm going to sound so old school when I say this, but ever since training camps changed and nobody tackles anymore and nobody plays in the preseason, it just feels like we see lousy tackling for the first month of the season. And it's terrible because you know something that can be closed up. Something that can be closed up is, you know, a loss of one or maybe a 1 or 2 yard meaningless run can very easily turn into a 12 or 14 yard run if you just miss one tackle.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not sure if you've had the opportunity to speak to or have somebody speak about him, but the young rookie, Leatu Latu. How high are they on him? Because the Titans are just as high on that left tackle, J.C. Latham, who are both early first-round picks.
So I met both of these young men at the draft, and let me tell you, love J.C. Latham. It was so funny. I asked one of his brothers, what's the way to J.C.'s heart? And he said, feed him.
That's no surprise.
That don't always have to be our way to our heart. Did he tell them to be better?
I mean, and then I went to JC. I said, you know, I asked your brother the way to your heart. And he thinks about it and he goes, I bet it was to feed me. And I go, oh, yeah. And I said, what's your favorite meal? Yeah, I was like, what's your favorite meal? And he goes, just about anything.
That's great.
That's the proper answer.
I mean, great energy, great all of that. And then Leatu Latu, I don't know if you guys know this, but he is one of the all-time best stories, maybe the best story in this draft. So he's a young man who went to college during a workout, suffered a neck injury, and then the University of Washington refused to clear him to play. They said, your football career is over. This I can't remember, C4. I can't remember what exactly it is. I actually wrote a story about it, too. The neck injury, they didn't feel safe putting him back on a football field. So he said, okay, fine, but he didn't want to leave the school. He didn't want to try to go anywhere else because he believes in loyalty. So he started training to be a firefighter. I mean, he was still going to school, but on the side, he started doing firefighter drills. And he told me that he felt like being a firefighter was just like being a football player and that you had to rely on your teammates and you couldn't do anything on your own. So he's doing that. And then his mom reads something about Dr. Robert Watkins, who was the doctor who obviously did Peyton Manning's neck surgery and cleared him. And she gets Laiatu in to see Dr. Watkins, and Dr. Watkins runs him through the full battery of tests and says, I feel comfortable with you playing. And so he transferred to UCLA. He played and really was the best pure pass rusher in the draft. But of course, he was dogged by these questions of what is the sustainability? You know, it's not necessarily the fear, does he get hurt, and is is he paralyzed, but what is his longevity? And clearly, and then I talked to several GMs that didn't feel that way. I talked to a few that said maybe it gives them pause, but he was the first defensive player taken. He is, the line that the Colts team reporter used is that he has golden retriever attitude. And that's exactly, I mean, the kid's got a smile on his face. He has so much energy. He has all that perspective of having the game taken away from him, and now he has it back. Just great, great, great young man. I think he'll be a superstar, but he's also been asked to do a lot. And again, we come back to this young player thing. I wonder, this is something I talked about with Zaire Franklin, Kwity Paye, this Colts defensive front has lost, 5, 6 players. If a guy like Kwity Paye is back in the rotation, then instead of playing 40, 50 snaps, can Latu only play maybe 20, and is that his sweet spot? When you're a young guy, getting your feet wet, getting in there, is it better? Do you get more out of those 20 snaps than perhaps if you get 40 or 50? Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's very interesting.
Yeah, but he's you know what, I know that you're not supposed to say this to divisional opponents, but if you want to root for a young man, maybe not to get any sacks or anything if you're a Titans fan, but just root for a good human. Latu is a good human to root for.
That's a great story. Aditi King Kabala joining us. She will be on the call this weekend for Titans versus Colts for CBS. Aditi, when it comes to the health of the Colts, I know that's kind of a worry right now. Jonathan Taylor, what is his status coming into this one? Also, we've heard, obviously, Michael Pittman out, but they've got a guy by the name of Alec Pierce who can do some damage too.
Oh, he had a monster game last week. Big play, Alec Pierce, right? Yeah. I think for him, it's about the targets, and it's just getting the opportunity to produce. And so it's funny because Michael Pittman, the first few weeks of the season, his numbers were kind of a little bit lower than what was expected. And he had said to me, it's just about targets. That's it. We haven't been playing as many plays. We've had a lot of short drives. And then the very next week, the targets were up and he had a great game. And I think that that's what it is with Alec Pierce. And so it'll be interesting. I know L'Jarius Sneed likes to shadow the number one receiver. I don't know that Alec Pierce qualifies. We may see Sneed play to a side or move around a little bit more as opposed to just chasing Pierce down. But maybe if Pierce has a couple big catches like he did with Joe Flacco last week, that might change things up.
Have you been surprised?
He's a really cool man, too, by the way. His older brother and his younger brother are both basketball players, and his mother was a star volleyball player. His father was a basketball and football player. Comes from a very athletic family.
So it's just in the blood.
Yeah, exactly.
Aditi, I don't know how close, like you said, you're going to talk to Brian Callahan later today. I don't know how close you've paid attention to these wide receivers here, but clearly because of the inconsistencies with Will Levis, these wide receivers haven't maybe been able to get anything going, specifically talking about Calvin Ridley and maybe expectations for him.
I mean, he can't throw himself the ball, right? Mm-hmm. It feels a little bit, there's a reason that Rand went out and got him, and you've got to get him going. I mean, that's a guy that can be a game breaker, so you have to be able to deliver the ball to him. And I don't, you guys know much better than me. I haven't seen it up close yet, but I don't know if this is about the line, giving Levis a little bit more time. I don't know if this is about Levis actually going through his progressions and waiting the half beat for the play to open up. I don't know if there's a fear because as you just talked about, Kayla, there's all these big plays given up. Is he taking kind of the safer route, the easier completions? But you don't go sign a guy like Calvin Ridley not to use him.
Yeah. That's where we've been at, I feel
Absolutely.
like.
Yeah, it's been a question.
Aditi King Kabala, our guest here this morning. She'll be on the sidelines for Titans and Colts for NFL on CBS this Sunday. Aditi, Brian Callahan is really interesting when he talks about the evolution of an offense over the course of a season and learning and kind of self-scouting and making adjustments. I know you mentioned how much you like him. It might sound like a weird question. How well equipped is he to make those adjustments on the fly? How much, when you talk to coaches, is this kind of a living document, so to speak, of play calling and scheme and week to week and how different this thing could look starting on Sunday after the bye week?
Well, I think there's a lot of feeling out of your players too, right? You get a sense of them, but you don't fully know them until the lights are on, right. Until as Ramon Foster's old coach, Mike Tomlin, loves to say, you don't really know someone until you see him in a stadium.
Yeah.
And so you would expect that he's getting to know Levis and what Levis can handle and what Levis can do better each week. And you hope that Levis can do more each week and does get more comfortable and more adept at handling things. So you have to expect the offense to evolve. I mean, it's anything, an offense or a defense. You're not installing the whole entire thing brand new week one and expecting to go. The menu has to sort of increase each week as you get more comfortable with whatever it is that you're doing. I don't know, but I do. Brian Callahan he's just a really, really, really smart guy who grew up in the game of football, who's learned how to teach. Kayla, you just talked about what's in your blood. I mean, his father is one of the best teachers in the National Football League, one of the best line coaches in the league. And Brian's also got this great demeanor about him. I've never known him to have an ego about it. I've never felt like it's about him, that it's really just about the players and what serves the players better. So I definitely bank on him. I love Mike Vrabel too, but he's like the diametrically opposite personality of Mike Vrabel.
It's been weird to adjust to.
So, just have faith. Again, it seems so funny. We're in a business where there's not a lot of patience, and you want to see results immediately. But the same way that we can't expect a rookie to necessarily step in week one and look like Tom Brady, do we really expect a head coach to step in week one, a first-time head coach to step in week one and be, Bill Belichick?
Right.
It's a process.
It is. And just real quick, too, speaking about that process, I know you've covered them or been in their city, too. As far as Cleveland and their issues with offensive line coach Bill Callahan not being there, you think they're missing a little bit of that as they try to figure out this one here in Tennessee?
I mean, they're missing everything in Cleveland right now. That's just, but you know what? That O-line hasn't been healthy, and that's obviously you're going to miss a coach like Bill Callahan. It's like the Steelers missed a coach like Mike Munchak. It's just a given. You're talking about a handful of the best to ever do it. But that Browns offensive line has been so steady, so consistent, and really a strength, and yet it hasn't been this year. They haven't had their tackles healthy. Wyatt Teller, their guard, just went out. So, again, hard to – I don't know. That's a team that decided to rip up its offense last year and rip up its entire offensive coaching staff, even though they went to the playoffs, even though they won games with 5 different starting quarterbacks. They decided to do it all anew, and then they've been racked by injuries, and, there's a lot. Oh, boy. Anyway, moving right along. Does it make you feel better? Yeah. Does that make you feel better to think about other teams that are struggling even more than your team?
Especially that team, Aditi. There is nothing that makes Ramon's heart grow like talking about negative things around the Cleveland Browns.
And it's so funny because I never, ever got this. I remember, y'all know that I live in Pittsburgh. I'm married to a diehard Steelers fan. And when I first moved to town, the way that he would talk about the Browns, and I was just like, I don't get it. Like, if you hate someone, hate the Ravens. They're good. They're a real rival. The Browns are like hating the Little Sisters of the Poor. I mean, the Browns are like 0-16, and my husband would be trashing the Browns.
Hey, you said it, not me.
Here he goes.
Little Sisters of the Poor.
We will be here all morning, and there's a show coming up after us in 20 minutes if we let Ramon talk about Cleveland.
I got one more quick thing, because this is something I haven't told Ramon yet. But I went to go technically introduce myself to Mason Rudolph yesterday.
Yeah.
And I told him I work with Ramon. He said, yeah. And he said, that man, he was tough on me.
Who, me?
Yeah. He goes, he obviously loves Ramon, but he said, that man, he was tough on me. And I just smiled and I was like, look at Ramon flexing over there.
Yeah, so then you know what? That's probably Ramon growing him up, raising him up. That's what needs to be done.
Yeah.
You know what, Ramon? Al Villanueva, who also played on that line with Ramon Foster and who is very good friends with Mason Rudolph. He's now retired. Al sent me a video of hunting crocodiles. Mason spent the week in Miami, or visited Miami during
he went to his farm.
Yes. But later on, you make sure that I show you this video of the crocodiles and what Al said about the crocodiles in relation to Mason. And all I will say is, Ramon, you may not have been tough enough on Mason all those years ago.
Boy.
Aditi King Kabala, our guest, NFL on CBS. You'll see her on the sidelines for Titans and Colts on Sunday. Always love catching up with you, Aditi. Great to hear from you. Thank you so much.
Yep. Can't wait to see you guys.
Thanks, Aditi.
All right. Aditi King Kabala with us this morning. We will wrap up the show, give you some Toyota keys to the game for Titans and Colts coming up next. Wrapping up the show and wrapping up another great week here on RKW. Ramon, Kayla, and Will. And we got some keys to the game for you coming up in just a few minutes. I really want to go find some Gator. I drove by a little local establishment the other day that actually had a sign that said Gator Grill Out for this weekend.
Ooh, because you're going.
On my way home from the golf course. I am going.
I know where you can get some. It's a spot over in East Nashville, man. It's a Cajun spot, dog.
Oh, there's one in the Gulch, too, actually.
Uncle Bud's Catfish also has.
There you go.
Okay.
Boom.
So there's a few out there.
I would like to call Ramon out before he says anything else.
I ain't even do nothing this time.
You are on him this
So
week.
this is kind of like at the end of the movie when like you think someone else was the villain and like you're walking away, getting on the plane, and you're like, wait.
Kaiser Sosa.
You have a Jimmy Neutron brain blast. Ramon said he could not go to the Preds game last night because he was going to get a haircut.
I did.
But you did get a haircut.
Yes, I did.
Do it. Dang it. I was like,
Yes,
why
he
is he wearing
did.
that hat? If he went
Yes,
and got
he
a
did.
I just
haircut.
like the hat. I'm going to be real with
I
you.
can see
And
the
you're
difference
looking
up
fresh,
front.
too.
Yeah.
This call out backfired.
Yeah, it did. Now, tell us
How you feel now, Bert? How you feel now?
You could send people to the shadows.
He was ready for it,
He
though.
was ready, man. No, I'm tight up here now, baby. It's a 6 o'clock cut last night.
And again, special thanks to Bad Day Hat Co. for supplying me with a couple hats and the one I'm wearing today.
Yeah.
BadDayHatCo.com, where you go for some awesome throwback Tennessee rope hats. You got the corduroy hats that I didn't know if I could pull off, but I'm going to say it. I'm pulling it off.
I think that's the one I wanted you to let me have.
I'm
so it's no big deal.
I'm accepting myself as someone pulling off this hat.
I think
like it
the
a lot.
chat was saying they would like you to pull off the hat, not that you are pulling off the hat.
Toyota keys to the game for Titans and Colts. Nobody has more electrified vehicles than Toyota, like the electrified RAV4 hybrid. At an EPA estimated 39 miles per gallon, you can go over 560 miles on a tank of gas. Plus, you get 2-year no-cost maintenance included. Ramon Foster, your first Toyota, the key to the game for the Titans is what?
Protect the ball. Protect the football. The run game don't matter as much to me as nothing more than the quarterback protecting the ball. Break the stigma of levising it. I can't believe that's a thing, and it is.
I don't want to make that a thing, but it is a thing. And I said that last week or the week before, protect the football. Once Levis went out, they protected the football. With Levis probably starting, definitely that's a key. But you've got to run the football. If you've got the opportunity to destroy this Colts defense once again in terms of the run game, you've got to do it. This is a big game. Establish the run.
Yep.
Run the ball gently down the field. Yeah, that's all you got to do. That's the key to the game. Run the ball well, you're going to win.
Yeah.
And they're probably going to. So,
yeah, I believe that this weekend. I think they pulled that one off. First home win this year.
Yes.
Find that little sweet spot in your couch this weekend. Just enjoy the football. Just settle in. You've got a full slate. You got Oregon, Ohio State. You've got a Red River rivalry. You've got Ole Miss, LSU. You've got Tennessee, Florida Saturday, and then NFL football back. We've got 13 straight weeks of Titans football.
Woo-wee.
Is what we've
No
got
breaks,
here.
baby.
Yes, we do. None. Absolutely
Breaks off.
none. Yeah, let's go, man. Be there. I know getting in and out of the stadium is a thing, man, but be there to support your
For
team.
the Colts,
it's a vision.
they'll be there.
Yeah, they'll be there for this one.
Absolutely.
All right, man. I got.
I'm at the Bankers Alley Hotel Sunday pregame, 9:30 a.m. Come by, hang out. $40 for a beer, a burger, and a parking spot. It's a good deal. And it's a Night of the Zone BGA FRA. A 7-0 versus 6-1 matchup. Ooh. And a very, very fun game. BGA building a really, really strong program. Bobby Bentley, 4-time state championship winning coach in South Carolina. Former Gus Malzahn assistant and Presbyterian head coach. The head man at BGA in his first season. Looking forward to a fun one tonight, but Sunday and this weekend about the Titans as well. We finish the show, as we do on Titans Fridays, with Macho Man Todd Titan, sending you into your weekend.
Oh, yeah! Sometimes you need a vacation, sometimes you need a bye week, and sometimes you just need the Indianapolis Colts to be your opponent, yeah! And I'm going to tell you something right now, a little secret. Let you in on something, put your ear real close. to the radio, Indianapolis. Yeah, because the fight will begin on Sunday right there on the gridiron at the 50-yard line. But it may not end there. It may go into the stands. We may take it to the parking lot. We may even drag you down to Broadway, but it doesn't matter. Where it is, the end result is always the same, and that's the Titans' arm raised in victory. And when it's all said and done, we're going to let bygones be bygones and continue to coexist in the AFC South, right? No, I'm not kidding. We don't like you, Indianapolis. We've never liked you, Indianapolis. And on Sunday, we're going to get a victory. Yeah, we don't need any luck to do it, because luck is when preparation meets opportunity, and we put in all the work. Here's the one thing I know. You'll fill the elbow on Sunday, and the Titans will notch their second victory of the season and keep pressing forward. It's